All right, there is rain falling all over Middle Tennessee. Now, right now, it's mixing with some sleet or snow along and north of I-40. Everything south of I-40 is staying pretty much rain for the most part, according to radar. We do have a crash. It's injury involved. 40 westbound approaching Fessler's Lane. I'm Ken Weaver.
Holy shnikes, it's snowing outside. Forget what Ken Weaver just said. There's no wintry mix. It's snowing. I saw it with my own two eyeballs. Jackson saw it too. We went outside and we played in the snow.
I don't like it.
I know you don't like it, Weaver. That's why this is fake news, friends. Oh, it's infiltrated even the closets of Supertalk 99.7 WTN. In the news closet there, Ken Weaver's typing up his newscast, and it says, oh, it's snowing in Nashville. And he goes, boop, 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 delete, 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 delete. Wintry mix.
I got a notification on my phone that it's moderate snow.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Moderate snow. Ken does not like it, on the record.
I'll not believe it.
He does not believe nor care for it. If it is real, he chooses to turn his back on it. But it's real. I mean, just look out your window, Ken.
I don't have a window, Brother Murphy.
Oh, yeah. That's why we call you in News Closet B.
It's a closet.
Well, it is. Sad. Sad. But, I need to put my coat. I need to hang my coat up in there.
Smells like feet.
Well, but
that seems more like a you problem.
That seems like a you or Joan Jones problem. I think we should choose to blame Jay Harper, because he's not here to defend himself.
You should have smelled what it was like whenever in the mornings I used to eat boiled eggs and bacon.
Oh, jeez.
Ken.
It smelled good.
Gracious
So that's why McMorey left.
That's why Maury left. That's maybe why Fur left. Remember Fur? Pamela Fur was here. She left because of my goodness gracious.
Yeah, I didn't get many visitors.
What do you eat in the afternoon, Ken?
All I eat is apples and cheese and little meats.
Well, I love a little weenie. Well, a little, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, one of those little smokies.
Yeah, a little smoky. That's exactly what I said, a little weenie.
That's what you call it, Ken?
Jackson, don't isolate that, by the way. Thank you. I already see his wheels turning. I like little weenie. Yeah, whatever. Too easy.
Jackson's saying that's the break I was looking for.
That's the one I was looking for right there. Yeah, Paul asked you for some promo material. There it is.
You love little weenies?
Yeah, you said it too.
I said you.
Uh-huh. You love them too. You know you do. Those little smokies and barbecue sauce. You know what I'm talking about.
Barbecue sauce is an interesting choice.
What, for little smokies?
If that's what you call it.
What I do on my time is my business. Thank you.
Because of the little gray. Never mind.
I might have a little smoky while I watch the SEC championship game this Saturday, where my football team continues to play.
Football
this season. By the way, I heard that Tennessee did pretty good in the recruitings there, Jackson.
Yeah, it did pretty well.
My understanding. I think Georgia finished 4th and y'all finished 7th.
2nd.
No, I don't think that's right.
Oh, we did have a late flip. I think we were 5th.
Okay. Well, that's fine. As long as you're behind Georgia per usual. I'm all good with that. Although Georgia can't enjoy the top 2 recruiting class because of that stupid Jared Curtis. Nate Bargatze, I'm coming after you. I'm not sitting idle while Bargatze just poaches Georgia commitments. I'm not doing it. Bargatze, I'm coming for you.
Is that what
That's
happened?
exactly what he went on. You didn't see? He went on the college game day and said, I'll be your friend. Yeah, whatever.
Man.
He's like, Jared Curtis, I'll be your buddy. I'll be your friend. How are we supposed to compete with that? Who doesn't want to be friends with Nate Bargatze?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
That's 5-star recruit.
I mean, that's collusion, isn't it? I mean, I feel like that's collusion. When a Vandy guy comes up all up in here, I'm a comedian, I'm funny, let me tell you a joke, come to our school. I don't like it. Like anything about it.
My Sooners didn't get but 1 5-star.
Really?
Not but
Tennessee
one.
got 3.
Who did?
The Vols.
Oh. Well, y'all have more opportunity to plan for 2026.
And who wants to live in Oklahoma?
I gotta agree. It's a pretty good question, Ken.
Yeah, well, I'm not living there.
And
Yeah,
there you
even
go.
Ken,
I mean,
Oklahoma's favorite son, and Josh Heupel. You know where they live now? The great state of Tennessee.
A great state of town. I mean, Tennessee is a good place to live, good place to raise a family, good place to grow, good place to learn, good place to lose football games, according to Jared Curtis. Anyway, that's enough sports on the News Talk station. Hello and welcome to your Thursday, December 4, 2025. We got lots to get into. Marsha Blackburn's going to stop by at about 3:35 this afternoon. We'll talk to her about some of the latest developments coming out of Washington, D.C. We have Josiah, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think I am, Josiah Baker, who is the head honcho at the Libertarian Party of Tennessee, coming in at 4 o'clock. I've been meaning to do this for a while. Believe it or not, there are third-party alternatives around these parts, and one of them is the Libertarian Party. I do not affiliate myself with the Libertarian Party, although Josiah might convince me today. But I do consider myself a libertarian in my individual political philosophy, my belief about politics, and my belief that government serves best as it serves least and only when absolutely necessary. That's the way to, and every time I say that, I was talking to somebody that will go unnamed earlier today on the Nashville Forward podcast that we present to you on a regular basis on Super Talk 99.7 WT. And it's my opportunity to talk to like business leaders. It's like a longer form conversation with various business leaders around around our area, around Middle Tennessee. We talked to for example, the head of Fifth Third Bank. I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and say it was Blair Durham. I spoke to Blair Durham today. You know who Blair Durham is, Jackson?
Is that Bart Durham Injury Law?
Bart Durham Injury Law. Blair is Bart's son. We lost Bart about a year and a half ago. And obviously Blair's been a part of that organization for many, many years. And we had a chance to sit down together, and I was speaking to him, and I was telling him about my personal political philosophy. And invariably, when I tell somebody about this, they say, yeah, I kind of agree with that. I believe in that. Yet, sadly, we have far too few actual conservatives in Washington, D.C. that believe in the power of smaller government, individual responsibility, and individual liberty. But, I don't know what you do with it. We can try to turn that ship of state around as best we can, and I do it from 3 to 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN on a daily basis. So, it is Thursday. It is December 4. Let me signpost here just a little bit, and we'll get into the content of the show. It's episode 936. We thank you for being a part of those. My goodness, we're well on our way to 1,000 episodes. Should be right at the beginning of the year. It is day 322 by my math. I hope I didn't miss a day or two. 322 of Donald Trump's second term as president of the United States of America. That's 322 out of 1,460.5. A lot of this to go, y'all. We're just getting warmed up. You can find us on 99.7 FM. Many of you listening to the radio right now from Alabama to Kentucky and all points in between. We're also on TuneIn, Spotify, and iHeart. We have our own app, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and then there's Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. What did you entitle today's episode of Talk Television, Jackson?
January 6th, pipe bomber caught.
Well, that's very good. That's very good. He actually laid him on the 5th, but they found him on the 6th, so I'll go with it.
Could have been midnight. You don't know that.
Well, it was late. We got him on camera, and he was there, and we now know who it was. I have the, in my, as Limbaugh used to say, formerly nicotine-stained fingers.
Fingers!
I have my formerly nicotine-stained fingers. I have the affidavit in support of a criminal complaint against the individual in question. It is believed that it is known that at approximately 1 o'clock on Jan 6, multiple law enforcement agencies received reports of a suspected IED, or improvised explosive device, in the vicinity of the headquarters of the RNC in Washington, D.C. At approximately 1:15 the same day, a suspected IED was reported just a few blocks away in the vicinity of the headquarters of the DNC in Washington, D.C. Remember what we were told at the time? We can go in the Wayback Machine, where we were discussing this in the aftermath of Jan 6th, And we were told by the leftist Democrats who were about to take over control and power of Washington, D.C., that this was all targeted toward them and that the only reason these bombs were placed in the first place was to target Kamala Harris, and that it had to do, all of January 6th had to do with Donald Trump and white supremacy. And, well, that narrative has since been absolutely destroyed, and this is just another further nail in that coffin. In this regard, the suspect in the case is a 30-year-old black male resident of Woodbridge, Virginia, by the name of Brian J. Cole Jr. Cole, 5 feet 6 inches tall, and wears corrective eyeglasses. Lives in a single-family home with his mother and other family members. Cole works in the office of a bail bondsman in Northern Virginia. The FBI identified 1 bank account and 6 credit cards used by Cole. The FBI obtained records for the checking account and 3 credit cards for the time period of Jan 2018 to Jan 2021. 3 additional credit cards obtained for the time between Jan 2018 and November 2025. The FBI reviewed the transaction history for all of these accounts. During 2019 and 2020, Cole purchased multiple items consistent with the components that were used to manufacture the pipe bombs placed at the RNC and DNC. Cole used the accounts to purchase these items from physical retail locations in Northern Virginia, and then they go into detail as to exactly how he manufactured these pipe bombs. It is believed the FBI obtained historical cell site records associated with cell towers located in the vicinity in the relevant time period. I'm going to go over a lot of this stuff with you because I think it's important. I understand why many of us are immediately suspicious. I know I was as well. It's obvious why we would be suspicious. We do not believe that we have gotten to the full truth of Jan 5 to Jan 6 to this day, because so many in the mainstream media were quick to point fingers at Trump. So many in the mainstream media were quick to decide that this was all, a right-wing deal, and there were not. I mean, they told us for years that there were no agents in the crowd, and we now know that there were FBI agents in the crowd. They told us for years that our suspect in the pipe bombing aspect of this situation would be of a particular type, of a particular characteristic, of a particular profile. It turns out that wasn't the case either. And so I can understand why folks would be questioning and suspicious of this situation. Well, there's finally been an arrest. And for their part, what the FBI is now saying, Kash Patel and others, they're saying, look, the Biden administration sat on this information, and we had to go through a mountain of information, and it took us just this long. Now, I understand why you would kind of cast a wary eye at what I'm about to say, but what they have suggested is it took just this long to get to the bottom of everything. The suspect who allegedly planted the pipe bombs, according to Fox News, as I mentioned, from Woodbridge, Virginia, he is now in FBI custody. After roughly 5 years of investigation, he's charged with the use of an explosive device, according to Attorney General Pam Bondi. Authorities are not releasing further details about the individual, but one federal law enforcement source tells Fox News the FBI is carrying out, quote, court-enforced activity at his residence, meaning they're searching his house. Cole's step-grandfather, Earl Donette, spoke to NBC News in a phone call. I mean, that, you know what they do. They search out these people's names. They search out their associations, and then they start calling the individuals that they're associated with. And his step-grandfather, Earl Donette, said that he spoke with the FBI about his step-grandson but declined any further comment. Bondi said the investigation in the attempted bombing languished for 4 years under the President of the United States administration, Joe Biden's administration, saying the FBI, along with Attorney General Pirro and other prosecutors, have worked tirelessly for months, sifting through evidence that has been sitting at the FBI with the Biden administration for 4 long years. Let me be clear, there was no new tip. There was no new witness. Just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work. In other words, All of this information was sitting for 4 years with the Biden administration. They didn't do anything with it. Why? Because maybe they did not wish to get to the bottom of who actually did these types of things. Well, many of you are writing in on this, and yes, I agree with you. Several of you already saying, like 1285 has said, who gets fired for sitting on this information? That's a good question. Someone should. There's a hell of a lot of people that are working in government right now that ought to be fired. I would obviously agree with all of that. All right, so quick timeout. We've got lots to get into today. To start with, we've got Senator Marsha Blackburn. We'll ask Marsha about this situation. We'll ask her about the dangers in Washington, D.C. surrounding the shooting of the 2 National Guardsmen and the unfortunate tragic death of one of those National Guardsmen, amongst other things. It's all on the way. Plus, Josiah Baker, who is the head of the Libertarian Party in the state of Tennessee. 21 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hi, friends. Matt Murphy for Men of Valor. Obviously, a couple of days ago, we enjoyed Giving Tuesday on campus at Men of Valor, the Valor Ridge campus. Spoke to many great graduates of the Men of Valor program, and you understand when you hear some of that testimony exactly how the lives of these men have been changed through the wonderful discipleship at Men of Valor, through class, inside the prison walls, through discipleship, through counseling within the prison walls, and through an understanding at Valor Ridge of the type of discipline that it will take to reenter society as a giver as opposed to a taker. And that's exactly what happens. At Men of Valor, they turn recidivism rates from 70+% to less than 15%. They turn takers into givers, and they truly give back to their community in ways which are just doubled and tripled and quadrupled in terms of the exponential impact that Men of Valor truly has in Middle Tennessee and beyond. Will you give as you can? If you're thinking of donating this holiday season, might I recommend Men of Valor? Go to movministry.com. That's movministry.com for the wonderful organization that is Men of Valor.
Got a report from Tullahoma where 2 people died after a horrific dog attack. That's coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, it's sad, but it is true that when I hear about dog attacks along those lines and I hear that people have died from said dog attacks, I imagine in my mind what type of dog we're talking about. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I just imagine it. And I've long said that, you know, any dog can bite you. Any dog can go rogue. Some dogs, because of past experience or whatever, I think all dogs have goodness in them, but some dogs, when they do decide to attack or when they do lose it and decide to bite, they are predispositioned through their breeding to attack more aggressively, ferociously in packs. And those dogs are more dangerous by their very nature.
Some people shouldn't have some breeds.
I agree. If you, let's just put it plainly where the goats can graze on it. If you own a variation of a pit bull, any of the variants of a pit bull, you have to understand the responsibility that comes along with that ownership. And you have to understand that the breed, while, you know, you can make the case that Chihuahuas bite more than pit bulls, but when pit bulls bite, these things are very, very serious in their nature because of the nature of the animal that we're dealing with, as opposed to the Chihuahua bite or whatever it might be. And I'm not against any breed. I used to be against the pit bull breed, and I got talked down from that position over any number of years. What I would always say years ago was that we should see the breed of dog die out for a lack of interest in it. In other words, I don't believe in, you know, some government fiat declaring that breed is illegal or whatever. But you know what I do? I do understand why certain organizations decide to draw a line in the sand with regard to pit bulls and, you know, associating themselves with the breed because of the repeated examples of deadly attacks when it comes to that. Now, Ken, is there any indication that we know what type of breed of dog this was?
They're pit bulls.
They are pit bulls. See, I mean, you know.
And apparently the house where it happened is in deplorable condition. It has, in fact, it's been shuttered by authorities there.
That's unfortunate.
I'm not so sure why it wasn't beforehand, but maybe they just didn't know about it. But, yeah, apparently the house is in – and we got some text today from some folks down there who said that this property was in pretty bad shape.
That's just unfortunate. That's just I'm sad for everyone involved. And obviously you'll have to hold someone, if possible, accountable for this. But it's just a tragedy all the way around. And it sounds like it was a preventable tragedy all the way around. Look, I don't pretend to have any answers with regard to that. I just know that I've known good people that have had pits. Mm-hmm. I've known great pit bulls. Great and wonderful examples of good family dogs. But, you know, I don't know that had I kids, I would allow my kids around a pit bull. As certainly not.
Littles?
No, not supervised. No, I mean, unsupervised? No, of course not.
Little kids grab ears.
Right.
And tails.
And you know, and yeah, look, there are plenty of breeds, and I'm getting it on the super text line. There's plenty of breeds that'll bite, and there's plenty of, Dobermans and, Rottweiler. I mean, I get it. I understand that some are more dangerous than others, and they're bred for different purposes than others. I just, there are plenty of dogs out there that I would select before I would select a pit bull, just because sometimes you don't know. You just don't know what you're getting. And what I have been told over the years by people who have spoken to me regarding attacks that happened in their families. I had a guy that called me in Birmingham that had his pit. He killed his own dog because his dog attacked his daughter.
Well,
and it was just brutal. The entire conversation was just brutal to listen to, because there was no one more sad about all of this than that man. But, But, and I asked him the question. I said, did you have any clue? He said, I never, ever saw it coming. Never saw it coming until it happened. And so, I just, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. You got to be responsible. If you take on that responsibility, understand what it entails. It's 31 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. It is raining everywhere in Middle Tennessee, but if you are north of I-40, there's a lot of folks getting some sleet and snow mixed in with it. We've got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, as we just mentioned, 2 people are dead after that horrific dog attack in Tullahoma. Channel 4's Brendan Tierney went to the home where it happened.
Police here in Tullahoma are trying to figure out what caused this tragic mauling. It happened at a home along East Warren Street on Wednesday afternoon. Officers say James Smith was already dead when they got there, and the dogs were still attacking his infant granddaughter's body. Neighbors say the family had 7 pit bulls, and they had attacked other animals in the neighborhood before, but never people.
She's screaming, "My baby." The dog pound pulled up. My heart just shattered then, and I'm just now kind of coming to realization of what happened, and it's really happening. Like, I've lived by these people forever, and now they're not even going to be my neighbors no more.
The house was condemned last night because of its condition, so on top of mourning these deaths, the family has to find a new place to live.
Now, police say they had to kill one of those dogs because it charged them. Animal control took the other 6. The FBI has arrested a man they say planted pipe bombs outside Republican and Democratic Party headquarters the night before the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol riot. 30-year-old Brian Cole, Jr. was arrested at his home in Woodbridge, Virginia this morning. Attorney General Pam Bondi slammed the Biden administration, claiming the evidence sat all this time with no action from Biden's FBI.
Today's arrest happened because the Trump administration has made this case a priority. The total lack of movement on this case in our nation's capital undermined the public trust of our enforcement agencies.
Authorities have not yet disclosed the motive or detailed all of the charges. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. In addition to the usual slowdowns trying to get home this afternoon or any afternoon here during the weekdays in Nashville, you've got a crash right now. 24 eastbound, it's under I-44. And in Smyrna, you've got a crash. 24 westbound past Almaville Road. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hey, friends, Matt Murphy. You know, after Thanksgiving, we probably feel like we put on a few pounds. I know I do. That's why I'm getting back to Contours LLC for my 4th session at Contours. That's coming up next week, and I invite you to join me. Our friends at Contours LLC have an incredible special running through the end of the year, and it's got a pretty good name on it, too. Their red light technology is the perfect solution to get rid of stubborn fat that keeps you from looking your best. Think about this. They're running a special through the end of the year called The Murph. That's right. It's named after yours truly, Matt Murphy. You get a package of Belly Buster treatments. You use them by the end of the year around that time. You also get a maintenance treatment every month in Jan, February, and March at 20% off the usual prices. That is a great savings for you. And they let you come in and try it for just $99 for the first one and buy a package of treatments only if you like it. I mean, come on. You've got nothing to lose but inches, and they guarantee over 2 inches off your torso first treatment. This is non-invasive, it is safe, it is painless, it's effective, it's cost-effective, and it works. Whether it's your gut, your loved handles, neck, wherever you want to lose, they can help you lose through red light technology. Call Contours at 615-236-9960. Allow them to talk to you about this. 615-236-9960, or find them online at contoursllc.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you, 38 minutes after the hour. Hey, looky here who's on the Super Talk Matt Murphy hotline. It is Senator Marsha Blackburn. She joins us to discuss a number of issues happening in Washington, D.C., obviously not the least of which the announcement by our Attorney General Pam Bondi and Kash Patel of the arrest of an individual believed to be responsible for the setting of pipe bombs, thankfully, that did not go off on January 5th, 2021. To speak to that and other matters, we welcome back to the show Senator Marsha Blackburn. Marsha, good afternoon. Welcome.
It's good to be with you. Thank you so much. And you are correct. There is a lot that is happening here. Certainly is. And knowing that the FBI was able to make that arrest today was watching that press conference and how that all unfolded, Matt, was pretty amazing because the FBI under Joe Biden had received these tips. They never went after trying to find who this was, but a Donald Trump FBI under Kash Patel and Dan Bongino did that hard investigative work, and they enhanced those film images that they had. They went through all the tips. They looked at in-cap purchases, and they put this together. They figured out who it was. They arrested this person, and tonight they are being held in jail. And, you know, one of the things I thought was so interesting about this, you had the D.C. police chief supporting U.S. Attorney Jean Pirro and also supporting the FBI and expressing her gratitude and thanks to the Trump DOJ and FBI for helping them solve this crime.
Well, you know, one of the points that was made by Attorney General Pam Bondi, Senator Blackburn, amongst others, was that there was no new tip, no new information. It was just good, hard police work, good, hard work by the FBI and other organizations to get to the bottom of this over the last 10 months. That then begs the question on your part, what was going on during the Biden administration? Are those questions that you expect will be asked? I mean, will we point to someone at some point down the road and say, y'all dropped the ball on this for 4+ years, and it was a ball that was thankfully picked up by the Trump administration Department of Justice, but it feels like someone needs to be held accountable during the Biden years?
There are so many people that need to be held to account, whether it is dropping the ball on these investigations, not caring who was committing these crimes, actions that were taken that made illegal legal, spying on conservatives, and misplacing the priorities, weaponizing the federal government. There are so many questions that need to be answered, and thank goodness we have a team at the FBI, at the CIA, at the DOJ that is raising their hands and saying, hey, we're all in to do the heavy lift. And they are working those hours that are necessary to clean these things up.
We're speaking with Senator Marsha Blackburn about matters involving Washington, D.C., to include, obviously, the tragic shooting of Sarah Beckstrom and Andrew Wolf. Obviously, we lost Sarah Beckstrom with the National Guard as a result of that shooting. This demonstrates the danger that our National Guardsmen are in, sadly, even in places that have been largely cleaned up of crime like Washington, D.C. I'm sad to note that there are elected officials that you work with, Marsha, who add to this, who refer to our people, our National Guards men and women, as Gestapo and some of this other incendiary language. And sadly, this leads to some of this insanity that we saw. What can you say about what happened last week in D.C.?
Yeah, and it is just absolutely heartbreaking. And we are praying for Sarah's family and the heartbreak and the loss, this season of loss that they are in. And Andrew Wolf's family has asked for prayers. They want us to specifically pray for a full recovery for Andrew Wolf. So it is so important that we lift him up and remember to continually lift him up and lift his family up during this very difficult time for them. He is showing signs of improvement, but he is still in critical condition. Now, this is an open reminder to everyone that during the Biden years, they had a goal. It was, let's make illegal legal. Let's make heroes out of criminals. Let's turn our cops into villains. And then, as you've mentioned, they have this language that they go in and they condemn law enforcement and they condemn the rule of law. And of course, with this Operation Allies Welcome program, this was all a part of Joe Biden's scheme to try to make illegal legal. And the President Biden spokesman, Jen Psaki, assured the American people that everybody that was coming in had been thoroughly vetted. And as I said, and as I questioned, you don't have a number that is 1-800-Afghanistan. The country doesn't have a website. People do not have appropriate identification. How do you know the person in front of you is who they claim to be, and they are not going to do harm to American citizens or to our country? And what we know is they did not conduct that vetting. When they said they did, that was a lie. And these people have not been properly vetted. We know that the Trump administration has started through this process. They are doing an asylum freeze. They're putting the American people first, and their right to permanently pause all immigration from third world countries. And Director Ed Lowe over at the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service has said that every single one of these aliens is going to be vetted. They're going to be screened, and then people that are not here to be of service or support our country, they are going to be deported.
Finally, and I have so many different topics that I want to talk to you about, but I promised your folks that I would get you out of here right around now. But one final thought on this situation in Minnesota and the federal government's role in this, vetting out some of the fraud that is obviously happening in many of our different communities, but we find it mainly in the Somalian community in Minnesota. I mean, this feels just like the tip of the iceberg on this issue of fraud, waste, and abuse when it comes to taxpayer dollars.
Well, indeed it is. And this is part of that work that we spend so much of our time right now trying to undo some of the bad stuff that was done during the Obama years and during the Biden years. And you look at these fraud machines that have been put in place that were sucking these dollars. We got a lot of it in DOGE. And Matt, I will say this. This is one of the reasons it is so important that we pass our appropriations bills and return to regular order, because by doing that, we're able to look at these programs and say, where did this money go? What were the outcomes? And going through this process is helping not only Congress, but these agencies uncover these fraudulent programs. What has happened in Minnesota is unbelievable.
Yes.
Absolutely unbelievable. And if Governor Walz was a part of that, he should be held to account for that.
Senator Blackburn, thank you so much for the time today. I do want to get you back on to talk about your piece in Time Magazine regarding Instagram and protecting children online and what the role of the government is on that. I know that you're leading the conversation in Washington, D.C. on that front, and I want to do it again soon. Like I say, I promised I'd get you out of here at this time, but let's get you back on.
We'll try to do it next week.
Yeah, let's please do, because I think it's a very, very important conversation that parents, particularly parents in Tennessee, need to hear.
You got it.
All right, take care. There's Senator Marsha Blackburn joining us for a few moments. Yeah, she wrote a piece. And look, there's only so much the government should be doing with regard to, quote-unquote, protecting kids online. That's largely, in my opinion, a parent responsibility. At the same time, there are certain safeguards that obviously the government can be involved in with regard to regulation. We do it when it comes to, the selling of alcohol to minors. We do it with regard to selling of cigarettes and other things that we believe to be detrimental to the growth. And if an individual has an inability based on maturity and the age of majority to make a decision for themselves, then you want to have those safeguards in place. We'll continue that discussion coming up in just a couple of minutes. It's 48 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dustin's on the line, wants to talk about pit bulls. Hey, Dustin, how are you?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
Doing good, thank you. First off, my heart goes out to the family involved with this. It's a terrible situation. And so I was shocked to hear that it was two individuals, and then, of course, to hear that it was kids. The couple things I was going to touch on, I've got two pit bulls right now and one Doberman, and both of those are my favorite breed. It's absolutely a matter of being raised the right way, and there can be a matter of genetics specific to each bloodline. I feel like with what we call aggressive dogs, if the parents weren't socialized well enough, then I do think some of that can be passed down. With multiple dogs, when there's a fight situation, they go into a pack mentality, and the energy just compounds fast.
Yeah.
So stopping a dog fight is hard between any two dogs, but that is, I'm sure, what made that such a much worse situation than it would have even possibly just been with one dog. My pit bulls, all my dogs love kids. What's interesting is my pit bulls are big babies. They will run to play with any kid. I have no concerns about them. Not just being gentle, but looking after them as protectors. I mean, pit bulls were known as nanny dogs, the all-American dog. Now, my Dobermans, and it's been consistent with all three that I've had, they would have to be really, really triggered to ever actually attack. Now, they're much better at guard dog security mentality, where my pit bulls are going to lay around. They're big babies. My oldest one's going to try to get in every delivery truck that comes on my yard. The Doberman, that's a different story. She won't let the guy out of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
But she would have to be cornered before she would attack, where the pit bulls are trying to see if they're going to get treats or see if they can go for a ride.
Well, what I've long, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but what I've long said, Dustin, is that, and I used to take a harder line on this, and I've softened my position on it over the years, because I know so many families that have pit bulls that I'd hang out with them, and they're wonderful. They're great animals. But the reason that we pay so much attention to that particular breed is because when things do go wrong, they seem to go very, very wrong, just based on the ability of the breed, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's fair. That things can go wrong with a Chihuahua. Things can go wrong with a golden retriever. But when things go wrong with a pit, and there does seem to be more of a pack-based mentality with the lethality is obviously far greater than with other breeds of dogs.
Yeah, for sure. It's they're to be respected. It's not a breed that you just go pick up in a Walmart parking lot.
Well, that's right. I mean, and you are obviously the example that I was using earlier, that if you are going to own the breed, understand the responsibility that comes along with that ownership, and recognize that the chances of something negative happen are very low, but you've got to be respectful of that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. My oldest one, he was attacked when he was young, and so his only problem is he doesn't like large male dogs. So I can't take him to a dog park because he's immediately, like, the PTSD is going to set in, and he's going to check him because he's got that he's dealt with when he was young. The other two, I can take them to the dog park. They have a blast. They're social, kids, people, dogs, whatever. They're fine with it. But because he's been through something, I have to care for him differently. I can't just turn him loose in a dog park because he could challenge another dog and it could get ugly really quick. And so, yeah, it's a matter of Rottweilers, Doberman, any of them. You need to know what you're buying, and not just how are the genetics, but what's it going to be like if something does happen? Because it's almost impossible to stop a dog fight between aggressive dogs when it gets there.
Well, I appreciate the perspective, Dustin. Thank you for the telephone call. I mean, it's one of those conversations that if we go in, we've got to go all in because a lot of people have different opinions on it. Like I say, there was a time when I took a hardline ban pit bull position on it. I'm not quite that hardline on it anymore, but understand that in terms of dog fatalities, you know the breed that's responsible for like 60% of the dog fatalities? It's pit bulls. The next is Rottweilers, and it's like 9%. So there's no question which animal is responsible for the fatal nature of some of these attacks, what type of animal. And it's a matter of, at what point do you do something about it from a legal perspective versus, the expectation that the owners will take ultimate responsibility in the case that their dog goes off and does something negative. 54 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for Alpha and Omega Computer Consultation. So if you're a business owner and you're not using Alpha and Omega, might I suggest that you're doing it wrong? I mean, I'm not telling you how to run your business, but I am telling you this, that with Alpha and Omega, they take the workload from an IT perspective off your plate so you can focus on, yes, your business. You don't have to worry about emails. You don't have to worry about printers. You don't have to worry about anything involving your IT. You don't have to worry about servers. They take care of all of that for you. Plus, they're protecting you from a cybersecurity standpoint. If you're a business owner, know this. You probably already do. That 14 successful ransomware attacks happen on every single day. And at Alpha and Omega, they help you avoid being one of the 14. As a matter of fact, they are the gatekeepers in that regard. So I want you to call Michael and his team. If your IT contract is up at the end of the year, or if you don't currently have one, friends, you need to get with Alpha and Omega and get them in your life. Business owners need Alpha and Omega. 615-784-0096, 784-0096, or ANO.net. That's A&O.net.
4 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. And radar still showing a good part of Middle Tennessee is getting some rain, snow, and sleet. Mainly is along and north of I-40. Everything south of I-40 for the most part is just rain. But you do have some pockets of the freezing stuff there in southeast Nashville. Doesn't look like anything sticking to the roads right now. We're above freezing at 36 degrees. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, a family in Tullahoma dealing with a tragic dog attack. It claimed 2 lives, an infant and a grandfather. Police say the grandfather was dead and the dogs, all of them pit bulls, still mauling the infant when they got there. Neighbors tell Channel 4 the dogs had attacked other dogs in the neighborhood in the past, but no one ever thought this would happen.
She's screaming, "My baby." The dog pound pulled up. My heart just shattered then, and I'm just now kind of coming to realization of what happened, and it's really happening. Like, I've lived by these people forever, and now they're not even going to be my neighbors no more.
So 7 dogs were seized, but police say they had to shoot and kill one when it charged officers. The other 6 dogs were taken by animal control. The house has been condemned due to deplorable conditions, so the family has to find another place to live. A deadly house fire in Wilson County today. Channel 4's Jordan James from East Division Street in Mount Juliet.
Just after 7 o'clock this morning, a fire was reported at the home. Crews spent nearly an hour putting out flames that left the outside scorched. Despite their efforts, a woman was declared dead. Authorities say she was the only person there. The Wilson County Sheriff's Office and TBI are investigating the cause of the fire. As officers comb over evidence, neighbors are shaken.
Oh, that's just horrible. I know I'll be praying for that family, and my family will be praying for that family. And if there's anything that we could do in Mount Juliet, I know the people here will be given to them.
We are still actively working to learn the woman's identity. At this point, it's unclear how long the investigation will take.
Nearly 5 years after the fact, an arrest has been made for the pipe bombs that were planted outside Republican and Democratic Party headquarters in D.C. the night before the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr. was arrested this morning at his home in Woodbridge, Virginia. Attorney General Pam Bondi slammed the Biden administration, claiming they had all of the evidence but didn't act on it.
Let me be clear. There was no new tip. There was no new witness. Just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work.
ABC News correspondent Alex Mallon covers the Justice Department.
We learned from the 9-page charging document that was just unsealed that the large part of this was circumstantial evidence that led them to believe that this individual had, for instance, purchased all of the components that were found in both of those pipe bombs. They separately did an analysis of his phone records that put him along specific parts of the path that they were able to track the suspect's movements on that surveillance footage that they've been releasing periodically throughout the years that showed his movements going between the DNC and RNC.
Authorities have not yet disclosed his motive or detailed all of the charges. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Radar still showing a mix of rain, snow, and sleet, mainly along and north of I-40, but there are pockets of it south of I-40. Franklin getting some of that. Southeast Nashville getting some of that now. For the most part, it's just rain south of I-40, but like I just said, we do have some pockets of the freezing stuff south of I-40. In addition to that, trying to get home, we have some crashes in the way. This one is injury involved in Hermitage. It's 40 eastbound at Central Pike. And then at Woodbine, we still have that crash 24 eastbound under I-440. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Couple of, we're signposting just a little bit. In other words, I'm giving you a sense of where we are with some breaking news stories, and we'll welcome our next guest into studio with us, which has been a long time coming. We've got the head of the Libertarian Party of the state of Tennessee in studio with us for the better part of this hour. So line them up if you've got any questions about libertarianism. It's a good time to get those questions in by dialing up 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. But before we get to that, a couple of things. Number one, obviously, there were a few questions brought to me on the Super Text line that I did not get a chance last hour to answer, but I want to answer them right now. Because several of you were like, hey, I thought we had a suspect, which was a female Capitol police officer, named as a potential match for the individual that was responsible for the pipe bombs. And now we're hearing that it's this Cole fella that is responsible, and the FBI has made an arrest. So the FBI denied at the time that this story leaked, and I think it was on Breitbart and some other resources, at the time that the story leaked there, the FBI denied that it was true. And I'll just give you an example of that denial. The FBI Thursday, this would have been Thursday, November. This is published November 14th. So whatever Thursday happened before November 14th. The FBI Thursday threw cold water on a story on a website that named former Capitol Police officer as a potential match for an individual who planted pipe bombs at the Republican National Committee and the Democrat National Committee before the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. In a letter to the Republican congressman who leads a new committee investigating Jan 6, the FBI explained it had been tracking a separate person of interest who took photos near the RNC on Jan 5 and then took the Metro back to his friend's home where he was planning to attend a Jan 6 rally. The FBI said it focused on the home because of the person taking the photos using the homeowner's smart trip card, I should say, on the Metro. The congressman, Representative Barry Loudermilk of Georgia, posted a section of the letter on X, which was then amplified by the FBI Rapid Response account. In other words, they're doing all manner of due diligence, and eventually the owner of the home happened to be a neighbor of the former Capitol Police officer named in a story as a potential suspect. So the Blaze then cited an analysis, the gait analysis, a study of how the person walks, saying that it found a 94% match between the officer and the suspect. That was what various internet websites ran with, suggesting that they had a person or an individual of interest in the case. The FBI denied it from the jump, saying that these two things did not have to do with one another. As a matter of fact, I mean, you know, and I'm not saying I buy it, I don't buy it. I'm just telling you what they say. According to FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino, that reporting about, quote, prior persons of interest is grossly inaccurate and serves only to mislead the public. And he said that a month ago, or almost a month ago. So that's that. Several of you are like, wait a minute, I thought it was a female. I thought it was this and that. That answers that. So it remains to be seen what other information. Apparently, they've tracked this Cole guy to the point that they have his Nissan Sentra and his license plate entering the South Capitol Street exit the night of Jan 5, less than a half a mile from the location where the individual who placed the devices was first observed. And they also have his cell phone pinging that evening in that area. So they've got some fairly decent forensic evidence involved in tracking him down. And thankfully, he'll be brought to justice if it is determined that he's the one responsible for all of that. So there's that going on. In the meantime, we've got the Somalia story. We'll get into that coming up in just a couple of minutes from now as well. We are pleased to welcome Josiah Baker into studio with us. He is the head of the Libertarian Party in the state of Tennessee. We have we've spoken back and forth via internet, via social media, and it's good to put a name with a face, and it's good to finally get an opportunity to meet you. And for those who don't know you, introduce you to the listening audience. Josiah, thanks for being on with us.
Absolutely, it's glad to meet you. I'm glad to meet you in person. My name is Josiah Baker. I'm the now second-term chair of the state party, the Libertarian Party. I'm also a National Mises Caucus board member. Involved working stiff, was working before I got here. None of us get paid to do this kind of thing. But very passionate about liberty, not only in our country, more specifically in our state, because nationally, I think it's a lost cause several days when I roll out of bed. I try to focus on what we can do here in Tennessee.
So, give me kind of the synopsis, the 50,000-foot view of what that focus is in the state.
In the state, to begin with, the state of Tennessee doesn't recognize us as a political party. We don't have ballot access. So there's that. We focus strategically in local elections, typically nonpartisan elections that have nullification of the Fed's powers. So your city council, county commission, magistrate, school board, things of that nature that can specifically nullify the federal government edicts. And we know this is important because we all lived through COVID 5 minutes ago and saw the overreach of the federal government 100%, and what they imposed on us all.
Yeah, so I always like to say it this way, that, you can't really say this anymore because of the there's been a democratization of caffeinated products, but I used to use the example that Coke and Pepsi like it just being Coke and Pepsi. They like knowing the enemy. And Republicans and Democrats, I think, like that as well. They enjoy it being a two-party system, and they've kind of set it up that way in the various states. I don't know the answer to this for Tennessee. I know in Alabama it was you had to get, I think the threshold was you had to get all of these signatures for ballot access. And if you got ballot access singularly and a third party got more than 20% of the vote, and I think it was in a statewide election, that you could go on to gain ballot access for the next 8 years or something. Yeah. I mean, it was just a laborious process. Do you, off the top of your head, know? I mean, what would the ballot access process be?
Ballot access, we've tried it. It's 2.5 of the previous gubernatorial. I believe that's around 46 to 48,000 signatures. And when you get ballot signatures, you should double that because half are going to get thrown out by people writing Mickey Mouse. I think ballot access laws in general are a treadmill to waste your time and energy and resource. Mm-hmm. So we kind of focus on the reality of where we're at. We're not recognized as a party, but we all are hardcore activists. And so we try to push the ball up the hill, advance down the field, whatever you want to call it, for liberty. At the end of the day, we want net liberty in Tennessee. That's the term that we use. I don't care who's pulling the lever on a good bill or who's pulling the lever on a bad bill. They need to either have the carrot or the stick, and honestly, most of the time it's the stick. And they need to feel the pain of bad voting records. And that's we hold people accountable. We organize, we knock doors, make phone calls, email our state representatives and let them know where they're at.
When's the last time that Josiah Baker got told that he wasn't a good libertarian? Because it's always the mark. You know the joke, right? The mark of a good the mark of a libertarian is that you have to have had someone or multiple someones tell you that you're not a real libertarian, which I've had multiple times. And I don't claim. I mean, obviously, I call myself a small L. You probably hear this a lot. I'm a small L libertarian. I don't belong to the party, but I believe in the basic philosophy of governance that government serves best, that serves least and only when absolutely necessary. That I own me. That you do not own me, and with that ownership comes a level of responsibility that I'm willing to take on, as opposed to handing it over to the government by fiat. I mean, is that your basic belief as well?
Oh, yeah, 100%. And I'm sure I've been called that by several folks that I don't care about their opinion. You know, it's just you have to kind of pick your battles of whose opinion matters. And at the end of the day, it's my wife and my parents and family. But when it comes to that kind of thing, man, you just shake it off and move on. And I think there's a lot of folks that espouse these values, identify with values. I talk about issues and values. I don't like using labels because once I put a sticker on your shirt and you put one on mine, all of a sudden we're in corners against each other. If we talk about issues and keep it right there, we can do a lot of good things together.
I know. I would agree with that. So on issue-oriented things, are you – I mean, if we may talk about the national scene, then we'll get down to the state. Are you pleased with the Trump administration? Or let me ask it a different way. Can you identify ways that you're pleased with the Trump administration and then maybe some ways that you're not so pleased with the Trump administration?
I'm very pleased that he signed Thomas Massey's release of the Epstein Files bill.
100%.
I'm very pleased that he released Ross Ulbricht like he promised us at National Convention he would do.
Ending, I mean, I would expect, based on basic Libertarian Party philosophy, getting us out of, or attempting to get us out of foreign entanglements, not getting us in further foreign entanglements. He could have easily stepped up the Ukrainian deal, and he chose not to do that. Pulling us out of that could have easily, I mean, although we aided in terms of military armaments and money, Israel in their fight against Hamas, we did not get boots on the ground. I was pleased to see that.
Boots on the ground, you are correct. I think the best thing he could ever do is get little Marco out of the room. He's not Marco 2.0. He's Marco he's always been, including the bubble bath. And it's got to get better there. And again, I appreciate the genius of Trump and the fact that he always has a fall guy. There's always a guy that gets whacked in the administration that he can point to. And at some point, in my opinion, you have to take responsibility. The buck stops with you. And I talk to a lot of my Republican friends about this, and it's a very frustrating thing. It's a table issue. Like, why are these people left to continue to glom on in an administration? And there's not accountability, and it's very frustrating. And the biggest frustrating thing for me, I was looking at the price of gold this morning, and since 2016, an ounce of gold went from $1,049, 300% to today in dollar amount increase, and that's because since 2016, man, we printed more dollars than we have in the history of the world. And people want to, you hear about the left. It's ironic the left talking about the affordability crisis when every single policy they want is going to make it worse. But it's a real thing that real people see. And the reason being, man, it's the Federal Reserve banking cartel that the government uses to pump out cheap dollars and rob you and me of our wealth.
I've said this, and I'll see if you agree with it, that I believe that our national debt and our inability to stop overspending is the greatest existential crisis that the United States of America faces, that if we crumble as a nation, we'll crumble economically from within because of our inability to stop spending money that doesn't really exist.
You're 100% right, man. I often think of Pat Buchanan's great quote that said, to save the country, we must abandon the empire. And for so long, the United States has become what it's not been. It's been perpetuated. And the D.C. Beltway, there's a reason it's the richest zip code in the world. It's because they get those cheap dollars. It doesn't. You and me don't get it. By the time we get it, inflation's already kicked in because of the monetary policy. It goes to the contractors. It goes to these people, and the tentacles keep reaching out, and no one can give you a good reason of why we do other than, well, China or Russia might feel it. We just look at Russia right now. They can't even beat Ukraine without U.S. pumping dollars constantly into that situation. And who here thinks Chinese communism is an effective way to run a country's economy, much less an empire? I don't.
So our conversation with Josiah will go on for the entire hour. If you want to get in on it, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. And a lot of you are already weighing in on the Super Text line. I see you over there. It's 20 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So still just a little bit of time left. Friends, it's December, but enough time for you to go ahead and call Shane Ring before some new insurance policies kick in the new year and find out if your insurance is right for you. Are your premiums going up? Have you gotten letters, notices that the deductibles are going up to match? If that's the case, you don't have to sit down and take this. Shane Ring can help you. Now, Shane does not work for any insurance company. He works for you. And he has all of the insurance programs available to you at his fingertips and available to him to share with you what is best for you. And you, like I say, are his customer, not the insurance company. Sadly, unfortunately, most times it's the other way around. If you're self-employed, uninsured, or if you're just tired of paying too much and you don't feel like you're getting the necessary program that you need, call 615-465-0023. 465-0023 for our friends at Cover Nash or online at covernash.com. Shane can help you, and now is the time to make this happen. Real health coverage on your terms, not on the terms of the government. It's the wrong way to go through the Obamacare system. You need to go through Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Once again, it's covernash.com.
Authorities in Tullahoma investigating a horrific dog attack that left a grandfather and his baby grandchild dead. And nearly 5 years after the fact, the FBI has made an arrest for the pipe bombs the night before the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol riot. These stories and more at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A lot of you asking questions on the super text line of our guest, Josiah Baker. He's in with us. He's with the Libertarian Party of the state of Tennessee, and we're talking with him about influence in the state. And you know, and I feel it on a regular basis, and I feel like I'm a little bit of a part of it in the sense that I'm not affiliated with the political party, but I do believe in so many of the principles that they have been espousing for so many years. For those that aren't familiar, Josiah, I mean, what's your stump speech when you talk to people and explain to them what the Libertarian Party believes in?
Yeah, we believe in self-ownership. You own yourself and your property, and essentially it all boils down to do not hurt people and do not take their stuff. It's that simple.
And the role of government kind of begins and ends there as well, right? We empower government to do things that make sure that others don't hurt people and take our stuff, right?
And at the same time, I apply that. I'm a very fair guy. I apply that same metric to government. Don't hurt me and don't take my stuff. We can get into tax code or whatever, but it's very funny. Any other group besides government would be considered a cartel or a gang the way they abuse the American people.
So when it comes to tax policy, are you a fan of the fair tax?
Dude, I would sign up for fair tax yesterday.
100%. All in. Yeah. Been all in for 20 years.
Like the problem I think we had was at the time that it was really hot. I remember Neil Bortz used to talk about it all the time.
Yeah, 100%.
Used to listen to him. Enjoy. I'm glad he's in his RV now, having a good life. But like, the problem was a decent policy for that. It's way better than what we have. You had the means of information production are controlled by very few people at that time. Now we have technology. You have direct-to-consumer content. Like, you can go out here and do a phone video on Facebook Live, and people can see and hear your thoughts and listen. And I reject the idea that people are short attention span. There's no way Joe Rogan is consistently the #1 podcast with 3+ hours of content. People have attention spans.
Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of, make it entertaining, make it where people can consume it. And fair tax is not that difficult to understand, but sadly, for those that don't do the investigative research themselves, it's kind of easy to pull the wool over people's eyes when you talk about a 27% national sales tax. But what you don't understand is that the level of embedded taxation, the level of taxation currently at the federal level.
Oh, the accumulation.
Just the cumulative effect. And if you eliminate all of those taxes, you'll come out with a zero-sum game. But what happens is that you have infinitely more power and control about how you spend your money and how you are taxed, because you're taxed based on your consumption rates.
Yeah, it's less highway robbery by a long shot. It's infinitely better. I mean, you're never going to get perfect. I don't live in Ancapistan in my head. What I would love to see a perfect society be. That's utopian, and it's not the world we live in. Fair tax would be infinitely better than this right now.
Do you think libertarians get unfairly characterized as, like, quote unquote anarchists?
I mean, anarchy, honestly, I think the term anarchy is the biggest problem. Most people think V for Vendetta. Anarchy is just two people voluntarily engaging. We're engaging in anarchy right now. No one forced us. No government was involved. We're having a conversation as two free will people. When you go to the bar downtown, the bouncer at the door, that's the personal security. You're going in there choosing to spend your money. They're willing to let you stay there. It's just a voluntary agreement. I think it's become a dirty word, and I get it because the left made it that way.
You mentioned when we were talking right before we came on that you've kind of done the work to make sure that you don't have infiltration on the part of other agendas in the Libertarian Party. Is that fair?
Yeah, man. The biggest problem that people don't take libertarians seriously, #1, is they only show up every 4 years, screw up an election, crawl back in their hole. That's the public perception of libertarians. #2,
they come up, they vote against the Republican candidate. The Republican doesn't win, and then they leave. Right.
Yeah. Or you run into, you walk in and you're like, am I at a Comic-Con right now? Why is this guy with a boot on? What is this? Everyone's perception, tends to be in 4, 8, or 12-year intervals. So people think Gary Johnson era. It's so far removed from that era of just bake the cake. No, our libertarian group here in our state and my national group that we took over national with, the Mises Caucus, we are hardcore family people. The majority of us are devout Christians, and the majority of us reject libertinism, which is, hey, there's a difference between, hey, whatever you do with yourself, that's fine, don't bring it over here, and a difference between, no, you need to celebrate every vile thing I do. That's two different things. We reject that, man. We are serious people.
Yeah, there's one thing to allow others to live a life of their own choosing. I don't necessarily have to support it. I don't have to agree with it. It's another thing, and we've seen the growth of this over the last 10 or 15 years. I mean, rampant growth. It's wokeism, right? It's this concept of not only must you accept that I'm allowed to live a life of my own choosing, you must be accepting of that and vocalizing. I'm like, no, hold on a second. That's just as much a violation of my liberties as anything.
Oh, 100%, man. We reject wokeism. It has no bearing on us. It's laughable. We got rid of all that. There are no leftists. We let them go back to their corners of their grandma's basement or wherever they're from. We're all serious people with professional lives, and we take liberty very seriously here.
Our guest is Josiah Baker. We'll be back with him in just a moment. Lots of questions coming up about flat tax versus fair tax, about libertarian philosophy, on a number of other things, and we'll get to some of those questions coming up in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. And now some of that rain mixed with snow and a little bit of sleet is starting to spread further south of I-40. Most of it's still along and north of I-40. But now you've got more of it coming south of I-40, especially east of 65. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Here in Tennessee, authorities in Tullahoma are investigating a deadly dog attack. It killed an infant and a 50-year-old grandfather. The grandfather, according to police, was already dead when they got there, but the dogs were still mauling the infant. This man is a neighbor who says he arrived home to a woman in the middle of the road screaming. Says he tried to help her, but she ran off into the back of the home there on East Warren Street.
And we started hearing that the two dogs had attacked two family members and killed them. We had no idea that anything like this would ever happen here. It's just horrible.
So neighbors say that these dogs had attacked other dogs in the neighborhood in the past, but they never thought that this would happen. Animal Control removed 7 dogs from the property, all of them pit bulls, and one had to be put down at the scene, according to police, who said it tried to attack them. As investigators comb over evidence of a deadly house fire in Mount Juliet this morning, Channel 4 says neighbors are shaken.
Oh, that's just horrible. I know I'll be praying for that family, and my family will be praying for that family, and if there's anything that we could do in Mount Juliet, I know the people here will be given to them.
Now, the fire reported just around 7 o'clock this morning on East Division Street in Mount Juliet. A woman found dead in the home. The name has not been released. And nearly 5 years after the fact, the FBI has made an arrest for the pipe bombs the night before the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol attack. 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr. arrested at his home in Woodbridge, Virginia this morning. At a press conference, Attorney General Pam Bondi said they used surveillance footage and digital evidence she claims the Biden administration could have acted on but chose not to.
The FBI, along with U.S. Attorney Pirro and all of our prosecutors, have worked tirelessly for months, sifting through evidence that had been sitting at the FBI with the Biden administration for 4 long years.
Authorities have not yet disclosed a motive for this person that they arrested. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Yeah, so the rain mixed with snow and some sleet is now spreading further south of I-40 now. Traffic is at an absolute standstill if you're trying to get home out of the downtown area. I mean, the northbound 65 up to South Loop, it is complete stop and go. Both directions, South Loop, East Loop, and then the North Loop up to the northern split. Same goes eastbound 440 over to 24. 24 eastbound is stop and go almost all the way down to the Laverne exit. And then westbound 440, it's stop and go up to 40. I'm Ken Weaver.
Grace Point Healthcare is affordable, convenient, comprehensive medicine, and it is a direct pay primary care provider. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means Grace Point doesn't allow insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies to get in between you and the decision making between you and your doctor, which is nice, right? It's really the way that it should be for all primary care physicians, but sadly it is not. But Grace Point Healthcare just believes in it, right? They treat the whole body with comprehensive medical approaches. They don't believe in medicating you when you don't need it. They believe that your opportunity to sit down with your doctor is a sacrosanct one, meaning that the doctor should not be directed by anybody else as to how they treat you, which is the way that they do their business. Now, $99 a month, you can enter the Smart Care plan, and that gets you unlimited office visits throughout the course of the year. It's $79 a month for the youngsters, and you can apply with your insurance company for reimbursement after you see them at Grace Point Healthcare. Located in the heart of Franklin, they do it the right way. They're great people, great physicians. 599-6868, 599-6868, Grace Point Healthcare. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. You know, you need insurance in your life. I mean, that word means something. And at T. King Insurance and Associates, they want to treat you the right way, and they want to deliver on their promise to insure you in a fashion that protects those things that are your biggest investments in your life, like your home and your car, two of your bigger investments. And at King and Associates Insurance, they protect those things with coverage that fit your life and fit your budget. Whether you're a first-time homeowner, a growing family, just bought a new vehicle, maybe you're shopping for better automobile rates, they make it simple with no pushy salespeople, honest advice, personalized service, and policies that make sense. Make sense to me, and I know they make sense to you. Plus, I love that they're local, they're independent, they work for you, they do not associate with any singular big insurance company. They work for you at T. King Insurance. Go to tkinginsurance.com. That's tkinginsurance.com, or call 329-8121, 329-8121 for a free quote today. King and Associates Insurance, protecting what matters most. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Josiah Baker in with us with the Libertarian Party of Tennessee. I promised I would get to your questions on the Super Text line, and I'm about to do so. If you have any questions you want to get in on the phone line, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. Before I get to those questions, though, I did promise that I would kind of circle back to the state and state politics. Where are we succeeding in the state of Tennessee from Libertarian Party principles, and where are we failing in the state?
I would say we're definitely, with the tax rates that we were discussing earlier, tax rates comparatively to other states are good. Could always be better. Yeah, like we were discussing.
Yeah, no doubt.
The things I think that we are good on, we are better on 2A than other states, although we don't have true constitutional carry currently.
Why? What? I've been talking. Why is that? Why? I mean, because it's an affirmative defense, right? That's the idea, as opposed to you not having to go to court to defend yourself in these individual circumstances.
Yeah, man, it's one of those things. I think it's very easy to call it fat and lazy when you live in the deep red area of Tennessee, and in certain issues that are like taken for granted issues are kind of just brushed aside. And I think the 2A has been one of those issues. The biggest one for me, man, HB 0129, Michelle Renault's bill to defend the Guard. It was an easy one-page bill that she put up and was co-sponsored by everyone from Monty Fritz, Jody Barrett. There was Rep. Salinas, a Democrat from Memphis, also co-sponsored this bill. It's been filed in 35 states, and it's a simple bill that says unless federal Congress declares war per their job, Tennessee National Guard stays in Tennessee and isn't deployed overseas in boondoggles. And like we were speaking earlier, when Helena hit last year, the previous week, Joe Biden sent 800 troops overseas to train Ukrainian troops. We could have used those people here to take care of Tennesseans in East Tennessee getting hit with floods. Instead, they were sent abroad. It was a very simple bill, very easy to sign, very easy for people to read. We lobbied like heck on that. And one of our co-sponsors, Rick Eldridge, decided to vote to send it to summer study. These things happen. And we all know summer study is just a synonym for killing a bill.
So explain it one more time, that it would require that for Tennessee National Guardsmen to leave the state of Tennessee, there has to be a declaration of war?
That is correct. Yes. Pretty cut and dry. What people don't realize about National Guard, since the beginning of the War on Terror, roughly 40 to 45% of the troops abroad were National Guard. Of that, over 18.4% were National Guard of the fatalities. National Guardsmen, and we all know them, they want to be here. They will be called to duty. And this, again, doesn't affect training. It doesn't affect training abroad. But National Guard, they're here for the common defense. They're here for insurrections. They're here to take care of national disasters. And unfortunately, man, look at Katrina. That's what happened there too.
Do you and you and I might disagree on some of these matters. That's okay too.
Sure.
That's what you're here for. On the issue of Memphis, I mean, was that legal in your estimation, where the governor was agreeable to using National Guard troops in the state of Tennessee to kind of get the rampant crime that was happening in Memphis under control, just based on your understanding of the Constitution?
I think that definitely was up to the governor. I don't see.
So a difference between being constitutional and maybe right. I guess the question is, do you think it's constitutional for the governor as long as he's on board?
For the governor to deploy. Yeah. Now I was worried about them going out unarmed. I know they were going to be sent with flashlights originally.
Right.
But at the same time, man, like I hate that it took that long for him to make that choice.
Yeah.
Because we've all been to Memphis. You spend 5 minutes, somebody trying to wash your windows like you're at the Mexico border,
right?
For cash. It gets rough out there, and I got a lot of friends out there, man, and it gets rough. I'm glad it's getting cleaned up. I think that more can be done, especially locally, and I feel for the people that have to live in it every single day.
On the I'm expecting, just based on where certain figures are on it, that I might have an understanding of where you are on this, but I don't want to assume things. The Venezuelan drug cartels and the declaration that the drug cartels, it seems a sticky wicket, and I can understand both sides of this argument. I can fully understand why people would think that where we have gone is extracurricular to the Constitution of the United States. Where are you on it?
Yeah, man, I do feel that way, and I think when it comes to the next big war, because let's be serious, there's a certain budget by the military-industrial complex that has to be fed, and I think we're learning very quickly it's probably going to be cheaper to do South America than the Middle East anymore. We've kind of tapped that market out for wars. There's not been a declaration of war, and I was in the music industry for a while, and I've never heard out of all the countries south of the border that's where all the drugs are coming from. In fact, I think the DEA put out a report, you might be able to pull the note on it, that it doesn't have Venezuela on there for fentanyl. I believe India and China is always where it comes through. I think it's a hasty decision. The double tapping is pretty wild. I was in Drudge Report this morning, which honestly used to be better, but they got Trump derangement syndrome a while back.
Yeah, he does.
But still, just looking at the facts there, it seems like there's an internal push right now going after Hagseth in the administration.
So getting to some of the questions that are coming in on the super text line, 8695 wants to know, where do libertarians stand on welfare?
Oh, man. Welfare, I think it should be ended. I think it's absurd to think that it's quote-unquote charity to take money out of your pocket to give to someone else to make me feel good. Anything charity-related, whether it be taking care of the poor, the sick, etc., should be done by local churches, families, and communities. No one knows who needs help there and who's exploiting more than the local people. And if you remove government funding from anything like we just saw while the government was paused, if something is worth funding, people will step up and voluntarily fund it. All of a sudden, Jay-Z, Beyonce, everybody opens their wallet. Mm-hmm. That right there is a market signal that if something is worth funding, people will put up money to do it.
I asked the question during the shutdown with all of these charitable organizations stepping up, and you saw the news reports, local news reports, Fox 17 and all the rest. They're reporting, this group and that group, they're stepping up. They're going to feed you. Don't worry. You don't have to do it. And I'm like, well, if we can do this now, why aren't we doing this generally? And why are we routing everything through the government where every dollar you send up there, you're only getting 30 cents back, if that?
It's a very sobering thing. It's almost like seeing a guy who's had a 3-day bender come off of it for 2 weeks, detox, and then all of a sudden he's sober-minded. We're addicted to government spending. Mm-hmm. And once you have that paused for a second, things kind of, it's like turning on a light and seeing the roaches scatter. They all go back to their original corners. It's beautiful to see because, again, man, like we were talking about, Helene, if it wasn't for the Amish building houses in western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee, a lot of people would still be homeless. Federal programs, good luck.
It's a hard pill for some to swallow, the idea that we don't need a federal emergency management agency. I mean, I would suggest that everything that needs to be done can get done on the state by state level, and there doesn't need to be any. Because all the federal government becomes is a checkbook, but the checks that they're writing, it's fake money.
Yeah.
That they're borrowing against the future of the United States of America.
Oh, 100%, man. And your average person doesn't understand, and nor do I, condemn them for it, because most folks are just living on a daily basis at their job and their grind, and they don't understand what happens when a government passes a bill. Where's this money coming from? It's either A, going to be taxed from you immediately, B, be borrowed from somewhere else, and God knows we've ran up the tab everywhere else, or 3, it's going to be printed out of thin air, and your dollar is going to be devalued. And this seems to be the most popular method that we see.
What about bailing out the banks? Should that be done by the government? Yeah. I mean, no, it should not be done by the government. And we should never have bailed the banks out in 2008.
No, businesses should be allowed to fail. That's called a free market system. We don't live in that. We live in more of what I would consider an oligarchical system. Honestly, we kind of live in something that's Mussolini's definition of fascism, where government gets to pick the winners and losers, and they're in big government and big business love each other. Look at COVID. Amazon, Target, Walmart, they all loved the lockdown measures because it crushed all the middle-class business owners. And it sent that money, the biggest wealth transfer in the history of the world during COVID. It sent the money back to the top. Big business loves big government. And honestly, it blows my mind the left can't wrap their head around that one.
Wayne has a question for Josiah Baker, our guest. Hey, Wayne.
Hey, how you doing this evening?
Good.
Got it. The question is that in this election, with the 7th District, there was approximately 170,000 some odd votes that were cast total within all those counties. But Bain took over 33,000 votes in Davidson County. And if you figure that up, that's about 25% of the total number of votes cast in that election. I've been talking to my friends and stuff about, how can we do something that would prevent us from becoming like Illinois, California, New York, where the blue strongholds like Nashville, Memphis, and I think Knoxville is going purple. How can we? What kind of legislation? What kind of things do we need to do instead of just sitting back and going, "Oh, that'll never happen here"? Because that's what I hear when I talk to my representatives and stuff. Oh, well, we've got a good system. We got this taken care of. But yet these blue strongholds, I mean, let's face it, there was a lot of 33,000 votes, 25% of the total votes cast in that special election.
What are you? I'm a little confused. Maybe I missed it. What do you want the government you want someone to adjust the way that people are voting? What?
No. Okay. When you get one area or one group of people, that's the reason why we have an electoral college. So all the states, it kind of balances out. Now, I don't know where you are on the electoral college, but that between
I believe in the electoral
vote,
college. Yeah.
Okay, so that puts a buffer, that puts a protection between democracy, a democratic government versus a republic.
Sure.
In that majority doesn't rule. Well, if you look at what's happening here in Tennessee, especially in this election this week, is that if Nashville, Davidson County had made a stronger showing, or let's say Nashville and say Montgomery County, Metro and Montgomery County had made a stronger, those two counties could have overrode the other, 10 counties that were in that district?
Yes.
And and I'm not saying, popular vote, more people wanted her, but we're looking at the demographics of where are your urban, we know that Memphis is blue.
Wayne, I don't mean to rush you here, but I don't understand what you're at. You don't like the system of us voting for elected representatives? I'm confused.
No, yes, I do, but I'm saying we need to be some way we can protect us from being like California or Illinois.
Well, I would argue you don't do that at the ballot box. You do that through education. You do that through helping people understand, how their vote matters and how their vote might negatively impact them. Josiah?
Yeah, I would say the argument and the frustration there is honestly cultural. Metro centers tend to always skew blue in the history of mankind because it's more of a collectivist mindset, unfortunately. I would also say that, again, the answer is cultural. People need to start early. People need to repopulate. There's nothing wrong with having large families that are voting blocks, those things that are coffee table issues that again, we were talking about school, and you can't be letting someone else indoctrinate your child. It is your job, your parental responsibility to be able to do that, to train them up in the ways, and you have voting blocks.
I've been saying for 25 years that the natural state of government is growth. And to prevent government growth is to go against its natural state of being. And that and that is why it's always a harder fight to do that. Because it is easier once you become an elected official to go back home and tell all of the folks back home what you're bringing back home rather than go back home and say, hey, we did nothing this week.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Dude, you're 100% right on that. And my political mentor says, the moment a guy gets elected, he loses 60 IQ points. And it's all survivalist mode. It's all self-preservation mode. You have a different set of incentives now once you're elected, because now immediately you got to get reelected.
How can folks find out more about the Libertarian Party in Tennessee?
You can go to lptn.org. You can follow us on Twitter, LPTN1776 on Twitter. I refuse to call it X, but X. We are on Facebook, Libertarian Party of Tennessee as well.
Why do you refuse to call it X? It's fun. I call it the X Machine.
That's fair. That's fair.
It kind of reminds me of De Ex Machina. But,
well, I'm a tech boomer, so I just now got a Twitters, as my parents would call it, with an S at the end.
You got the tweeters?
I got the tweeters.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I'm doing good to use a fax machine, man.
Man, it's been a fun hour. Let's do it again.
I would love to.
Let's do it again. It flew by. There's Josiah Baker with the Libertarian Party. We'll be back in a moment. We got lots to get into with regard to Hexeth and the shifting narrative on what happened with the Venezuelan boat. We'll talk about that next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Look, hope is not a plan, folks. I say this all the time when it comes to Defend Systems, and it is so true. Brink Fiddler and his team at Defend Systems can help you if you're a business owner. can help you if you're a decision maker in a business or a school or a church or any place that people gather with regard to the dangerous world in which we live. You need to be prepared. You need to be trained as to what to do in case that something negative happens to you, like a workplace violence situation, an active shooter response deal, security improvement consultation. They engage in emergency and intruder action plans, rapid response medical training, all customized to your facility. But here's the deal. Brink and his team are not here to frighten you. The possibility of something like this negative in your life happening to you is very, very small, but it's not zero, which is why we say hope is not a plan. Let's get trained. These are life skills that you can use. I mean, medical training type skills, working with tourniquets, understanding what to do in the event that you come across an automobile accident. How can you help? Can you be a helper? They can teach you how with Defend Systems. Reach out today at 615-236-6484, 236-6484, or online at defendsystems.com.
5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Most of the rain mixing with the snow and sleet is north of I-40, and it is causing folks to slow down. Downtown is almost like a parking lot if you're trying to get home right now. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, 2 people are dead after a dog attacked them in Tullahoma. This man who lives across the street says he was especially horrified to learn one of the victims was an infant.
It's just horrible. If you just hear about it, it's one thing, but knowing it happened across the street, knowing the people, that's what makes it so difficult.
Yeah, so police say the baby was attacked first, then the grandfather died trying to intervene, and whenever they arrived, the dogs were still mauling the infant. The attack happened yesterday afternoon at a home on East Warren Street, where that home has now been condemned because of deplorable conditions. So the family that lives there is going to have to find someplace else to live. Officers shot one aggressive dog. 6 others were taken by animal control. All of the dogs are pit bulls. Nearly 5 years after the fact, an arrest has been made for the pipe bombs the night before the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol riot. 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr. of Woodbridge, Virginia, taken into custody at his home this morning. Video analysis, shoe purchase records, and cellular data was used to identify him, according to Attorney General Pam Bondi, who says all of that evidence just sat at the Biden administration Justice Department all these years.
Let me be clear. There was no new tip. There was no new witness. Just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work.
Alex Mallon covers the Justice Department.
They were able to track the license plate of his Nissan Sentra on a license plate reader near South Capitol Street. That's about 1.5 miles from where those bombs were placed, and tying all of those threads together, that's what led them to be able to prove probable cause to make this arrest of this suspect today. Now, they say that there's a lot more work to be done. They have to do interviews. They are still in the process, we understand, of conducting multiple search warrants tied to the suspect, and they hope to be able to probably, in their minds, gather further evidence that will bolster their case against the suspect.
Yeah, they have not disclosed a motive. Tennessee is near the top of the list for deadly crashes involving older drivers. Federal data showing the state's rate is significantly higher than the national average. Officials warn that as more Tennesseans turn 65, safety concerns will continue to rise. Meanwhile, in Texas, the Austin Independent School District asking Waymo to fix safety issues after repeated incidents of its cars passing stopped school buses.
It's a very dangerous situation when you have busy roadways. Austin is not a small town anymore. Traffic is getting a lot more busy. There's a lot more cars on the roadway.
That's Assistant Chief of Police Travis Pickford. He calls it rampant.
If a vehicle is outwardly breaking the law, we know it's a pattern of problem. And not only that, it's putting our students in danger, then it's my opinion that they not operate until we can get this problem solved.
He says since the start of the year, Austin officials say autonomous vehicles have passed school buses with their flashing red lights and stop arms extended 19 times. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Most of the rain mixing with snow and sleet is now staying north of I-40, but we've got rain everywhere in Middle Tennessee. Crashes are not helping our situation. Over on the South Loop, we've got a crash reported. It's eastbound there at 65. Then in Rural Hill, police reporting a crash 24 eastbound at Bell Road. The Hermitage, we had that injury crash, 40 eastbound at Central Pike. And now in Dixon, we've got a crash reported. It's Highway 48, just south of 40. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy, and you halfway home this Thursday edition, December 4, 2025, with snow on the ground in certain parts of our listening audience. That's right. There's snowfall. There's also a wintry mix happening just north of I-40. I'm doing my best Ken Weaver impersonation because Ken just told you that, right? So just north of a line along I-40, there is a wintry mix happening. And I think we got rain around here.
It's mostly rain out there.
Yeah, you know.
And I like it like that.
Do you now, Ken?
Yes, sir.
What do you think of that traffic map, Ken Weaver?
I don't like that traffic map one bit, and neither do the people who are in it.
Y'all, I'm sorry. All I can tell you is it'll be there when you get there, and I hope you get there at some point before in the morning.
And we don't have to deal with it. Get off the roads at 7 p.m.
Jackson a little more self-centered in his commentary. Just go ahead and find your asses off the road by the time we have to get on it. Thank you very much.
Not my problem. Godspeed and good luck. Let the Hunger Games begin.
I'm just looking at the map, y'all.
Dude, it's a freaking parking lot.
Good Lord. I'm so sorry. Y'all just call me, and I'll tell you what, just call with some random complaints.
Yeah.
You know? Call and tell it. We can make people feel better. Tell dad jokes. I don't know.
I've got a whole deck of cards.
Give me a dad joke, Ken Weaver.
All right.
I want a dad joke. What?
All right.
Nothing wrong with it.
I'm gonna pick this one out of the middle of the deck. All right, you boys ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
My wife told me to stop impersonating a flamingo. I had to put my foot down.
I saw. It's talking about joke. I don't think I could tell this joke on the radio.
Yeah, well, then you should go ahead and tell it.
Well, I should go ahead and do it. Have y'all seen? It's an outtake of Golden Girls, where Rue McClanahan is telling Betty White this joke about a guy getting stranded on a deserted island, and all he's got's a pig and a dog. All right, I'm gonna tell it, Ken. You ready? I'm gonna tell this joke. Man. I'm gonna tell this joke. This is the joke that I cannot tell on the radio, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. So, a guy, boat sinks. He's stranded on a desert island, and he's got some basic food, some water, but that's it. And he's there, and all he has with him, he has his dog, and he has a pig. And, after, weeks, even months of this existence, sad but true, this man starts having certain desires.
Goodness.
I know. It's all awful. Awful to contemplate, Ken. Awful. Awful.
Do not tell this joke.
You know the joke?
No, but I know where it's going. I'm not dumb.
Well,
Brother Murphy?
But every time he tries to get sweet on the pig, the dog starts growling at him and barking at him. And he's not proud of he's not proud of it, but, it is what it is. And so every couple of weeks, he, tries to sidle up to the pig and the dog growls at him. Gets all mad at him. And so after months of this, lo and behold, another shipwreck happens off the coast of the island. And the only survivor on this shipwreck is a beautiful woman, Ken, a beautiful, buxom woman who comes out of the ocean and onto the island. And he's like, oh, my goodness, there's another person on the island. Hallelujah. And he thinks, and he says to the woman, he says, I'm so happy you're here, but I just have one request of you, just one request. And she's like, well, yes, what would you like? Anything. And he says, would you mind holding that dog? There's a much better way of telling that joke that I can't. That's a good joke. That's a good joke.
Oh, well, it's better than my flamingo joke.
I had to put my foot down. I told y'all I couldn't tell that joke, and so I didn't.
You told it all right.
I'm just trying to make people feel better about their drive home.
Well, here's what it is. We're getting good at it through practicing by doing our nincompoops every day.
That's right.
Because we have to be careful how we present our stories.
Got to clean it up. Jackson's not very good at cleaning it up.
I'm good at cleaning it up.
You want to tell everybody why you called me a sissy last night on text?
I did. I meant it. So we were talking about recruiting in Tennessee and things. And
you were all proud of your recruiting station as a Tennessee Vol, and we were trying to explain to you yesterday that some of us still have a season to finish.
No, you asked if we were going to get a kicker.
I did. I said, y'all recruiting a kicker.
Ken's old boy, Shorty McShortshorts, is at the top of our wish list.
Or like a little transfer?
Yes.
Little NIL money?
And you said...
Little McShorty short shorts?
You said he looks like a sissy.
But he kicks like a mule, is what I said.
Like a mule.
And I
he
said,
does.
just like the great Matt Murphy himself.
Let me tell you something, boys. With our offense, that kicker's getting ready to get rich.
Look,
we need to do
y'all
is
get across the 50-yard line and he's good.
That's all we need. We just need to get to midfield.
That young man is something else, I'll tell you. Something else. All right. Traffic is nasty as nasty
it is, dude.
Can be.
It's going to take me 3 hours to get home tonight.
Oh. Yeah, 24 clean.
You know what?
24 cleans up around Smyrna. I mean, once you get to Smyrna, you're fine.
Yeah, Ken, you just got to sit there for 6 hours and get to Smyrna. Ken, you might as well. We got some comfortable couches here.
Sheesh, Manelli. And, north of the city, it's
not bad.
It's not,
I should have moved north of 40.
You think?
No, wait. No, I'm never living north of 40 ever again.
Because of the snow?
Because of the plateau.
In fact,
the plateau will get you.
In fact, whenever I came here, the only reason I stayed is because we are just south of I-40.
Yeah, I mean,
As I was driving in, I was saying, oh, no, are we north of I-40?
Not doing that.
That's where them real fields get low.
This is what happens when you live as long as Ken lived in Boise, Idaho. Mm-hmm. How long were you there? 10 years?
10 years.
Wow.
Never saw the sun.
A lot of snow going on. Didn't you say it snowed? Did you say it snowed in June?
Yes.
In June.
Snowed in June, and all my friends, down in Oklahoma and Texas, they got pictures of them on Facebook, fishing bareback and swimming and skiing.
And you're driving to work in the snow.
Yeah.
I like the snow, Ken. I like a good snow every year.
No.
Come on, just one.
Well, here's the deal. The snow in Idaho is not dangerous snow. It's dry. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can drive
it's dry
on
heat.
it. Mm-hmm. You can drive on it. Here, it turns to ice. Everybody knows in the South, the snow's a bad deal, man, because it turns to ice.
That's what you got to worry about, that slush.
Yes.
That slush, and then it freezes over, and then it's a sheet of ice, and then it's a problem because you know what you can't do? You can drive in the snow. You know what you can't drive on? Ice.
Ice. It's like you said something that was and it is very wise, and I use it to this day. And you said it like 3 years ago.
What's that?
People were trying to go home. It was snowing, and people were trying to go home, yet the trucks were jackknifed and people were stuck in traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, everything's okay until it's not.
That's right. I mean, no, and I don't know how else to describe it.
That's the only way you can.
In Atlanta, Georgia traffic is absolutely effed every day. Every day. Okay? Every day. It is FUBAR. Okay? Nashville traffic is fine until it's not.
Yes, sir.
And as soon as it's not, as that domino thing happens, and man, it gets bad quick, and then people don't know what to do. They got no clue what to do.
They can't figure it out.
They can't. Well, 1972 says, so Ken Weaver's friends like it bareback. Yeah, that's what the man said.
That was the funniest joke this segment.
6292 says, please, 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 can we not get the state to finish the 840 loop?
What happened with that?
It would fix all of this. See,
is that the tunnel?
No, that's not the tunnel's going to fix all of this. Don't worry about it. When the tunnel's done, all of this is over.
Are they building a special Ken Weaver wing?
Although every time I bring up the tunnel, I have good friends of mine who hit me up and just destroy me because they say this as soon as the tunnel opens, it's going to flood.
As soon as it opens?
That's what they tell me. That's what I get told.
So are they going to put boats in there?
I get that as soon as we get a hard rain, once that tunnel opens, that the thing's going to flood and it's not going to work, and they're going to have to fill it in and be over.
Interesting.
So
they can put boats in it.
Well, but what my thing is, that'd be cool, like
Tesla
a little
boats?
like a little canal.
Yeah,
like you let it fill up halfway, and then and it's like a little love canal.
Hey, they should put some crappie and catfish in it too.
Oh man, or just put some alligators down there.
Send the tourists down there?
Yes. Go alligator hunting. Hell no, keep all the bleep drivers off 840. Okay, there we go.
Well, yeah, I understand that, whoever said that.
And 1012 said, tell us more about the... We don't call it... Look, Chris Hand can be nasty about this all he wants. We don't call it the B&A hole on this show.
That's a pretty good name.
It is a pretty good name, and part of me is jealous that I didn't think of it first, but that's fine. That's neither here nor there. Being an a-hole indicates that somebody's an a-hole, and nobody's an a-hole.
I don't know. Have you driven on 40 recently?
Well,
somebody's an a-hole.
There's a lot of a-holes on 40. The suggestion is, and look, I don't pretend to understand the topography, particularly the geology involved in the boring of these tunnels. But I would like to believe that before someone as successful as Elon Musk spends millions and millions and millions of his dollars on something that he needs to be successful in order to be kind of proof of performance in areas other than Las Vegas, that they have done their due diligence, and in coordination with the state, they've done the environmental impact studies necessary to go ahead and bore that hole from the Broadway area to, I guess it's the state capitol technically, to B&A Airport. Although there was a new development, I had this story pulled up while we're talking about it. They're going to have a little cross street action too on this tunnel. Hold on, where was that?
Really?
Yeah, they're doing. The Boring Company released a new map of its plans to extend the Music City Loop along Nashville's West End corridor. The Boring Company initially proposed twin 9.5-mile tunnels, one for each direction of travel, linking Nashville International, or B&A Airport, to the Tennessee State Capitol. Now, the Elon Musk company, Boring Company, has broadened its vision, aiming for a more extensive Nashville tunnel network. The Tunnel Boring Company's new Nashville map details an additional 2.9-mile tunnel, the West End Connector, which begins at the Cumberland River on Nashville's Lower Broad, running along West End Avenue past Centennial Park and Vanderbilt University, and ending near 440.
Well, what do you know about that?
What do you know about
Ken Weaver would love that.
Mm-hmm.
I would.
I'm going.
I want to ride in the tunnel.
Aren't we riding? As a show?
Didn't they said we could?
Ken, are you in, Ken?
I'm in, man.
Okay, we're in. We're in as a show. And we're going to I have a connection that I reconnected with my guy that knows one of the chief engineers that's doing the project. So we're going to get him on the show so he can explain what level of due diligence that they've done. And here, I mean, I know people don't believe it's happened. So Mario says, Matt, I gave you the first shot at being a-hole. You read it, chuckled, and moved on. The much more imaginative Chris Hand saw the potential and ran with it. Well, that's probably.
And this is why I compared you to the Oklahoma kicker.
Because I'm a sissy?
Sure.
Because I can make 60-yarders? What? What are you saying?
I don't know. I just wanted to tie that all in a neat little bow. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's the end of the segment. Let's just circle right back to call him Matt a sissy.
Tie that in a nice, neat little sissy bow that Matt tied for us.
I wish the borer was something you could drive, and they let us drive.
Man, I would get in.
I could do some damage with that thing.
So the suggestion is that the rock that they're boring through is of a porous nature, and we will be unable to prevent water from getting into the tunnels after the tunnels have been completed. And that even if, and so I would suggest that the tunnels are going to be waterproof, and those that are against this are saying, well, even if that happens, you're changing the water table of a nature where you're going to create flood zones as a result of the tunnel. And I'll believe that when I see it.
Have you tried Flex Seal? Man, they drove a boat with the bottom of it being Flex Seal. Not sponsored.
Not. But they
But
could.
I've seen the infomercial.
I mean,
they just need an industrial level of Flex Seal.
Give me an intro. Just say, I'm Jackson Williams.
I'm Jackson Williams, and this is Flex Seal.
You can sell the hell out of some Flex Seal, Jackson.
You could, brother.
I'm just picturing Jackson in one of those boats that just has the bottom with the flex. Because that's what he does, right? He cuts the bottom out of the boat.
Cuts the bottom out of the boat. I'm telling you, the solution to the problem. Elon, give me a call. Or the people at Flex Seal. Somebody's calling right now, but I don't think it's them.
I bet it is. You better answer that phone. It's 22 after the hour at Super Talk. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for Advanced Hair. Friends, if you're losing it, you know it. I mean, I don't have to tell you. And for many of you, many of us, really, it's happening. I thought mine was going bad, too, but I discovered that I did not have any thinning issues, and I'm proud to say that. But if you do, if you have thinning, if your crown's disappearing, maybe your hair loss has you feeling like you're losing your identity, I've got good news. It's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment. It starts growing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's advanced, and the FUE treatment from Advanced Hair. We've seen the pills and the lotions, okay, and they come with monthly subscriptions. Nobody's against those, but they might help you retain what you have, but they never help you regrow what you've lost. Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facility, it's not a matter of maybe your hair will regrow. It's guaranteed that it will regrow, and your new hair will be thicker, as thick as you want. It grows where you want. That's why Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and it's why I encourage you to make the call that so many others have made. If you qualify, you get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 629-348-HAIR, 629-348-HAIR. Refine your hairline with the team that's redefined hair restoration. AdvancedHair.com. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. Let's talk for a moment about the Glock store. The Glock store is your number one shop for all things Glocks and all things guns, accessories, ammo, and gear. But they are also your place to take pictures with Santa Claus. That's right. It's that time of year. And if you're wondering where you should go and take a picture of you and the family, because you got to get one of those family photos, right? Well, the Christmas holiday photo just went up a notch, right? We kicked it up a gear with Tactical Santa. What could be more Tennessee than a family photo with Tactical Santa? And yes, you can bring the kids, and yes, you can bring the pets. It's backed by popular demand, Tactical Santa in your holiday photos, and it's happening tomorrow, Friday, the 6th, Saturday, and next weekend, the 12th and the 13th. $25 gets you a professional family portrait by Glock Store's in-house photographer. And, of course, your pets are welcome, your kids too. Get your most unique holiday photo memory with the Glock Store and their Tactical Santa. And, yeah, they got props galore with you. So this weekend and next weekend, only at the Glock Store. Go by and see them and schedule your photograph with Tactical Santa at the Glock Store, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere.
Two people are dead after that horrific dog attack in Tullahoma. The FBI's arrested a man they say planted those pipe bombs before the U.S. Capitol riot nearly 5 years ago. Something to think about before your next trip to the beach. I'm going to tell you about a couple of sharks seen right off the coast in the Atlantic. That's coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, we'll get to your calls momentarily. It's a Thursday, feels like Friday, on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk because we're all kind of giddy. Snow is falling. Traffic is not moving. The dad jokes are coming in hot and heavy.
Y'all want another one?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
I do.
Here we go.
Give me a dad joke.
Let's grab this one from the middle of the pack. If prisoners could take their own mugshots, they'd be called selfies.
All right, try it one more time, Ken.
If prisoners could take their own mugshots, they'd be called selfies.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't understand that one.
Like selfies?
Like selfies.
They'd be called selfies.
Oh.
Selfies.
I screwed it up.
The joke really is, what do you call it when a prisoner takes his own mugshot?
A selfie.
A selfie.
Oh, man. I screwed that up.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, wait, listen, only the mediocre are at their best 100% of the time, Ken. Remember that. Remember that. Matt, WTF. No. It's where the current flood water will go if a giant tunnel is running through our water table. Have you never taken a geography or geology class in your life?
No, but I've been to the Rainforest Cafe.
Okay. Hey, if I buy your dinner, will you go out there with me?
Yes.
Out to the Opry Mill?
I haven't been in years.
Oh, come on. That's a great place.
I think I went for my 4th or 5th birthday.
Oh, man. I love the Rainforest Cafe. Good stuff. Food kind of sucks, but at least that's my memory. I don't know. Maybe it's better now.
Video, a couple of years ago, a guy traveled across the country and went to every Rainforest Cafe. And by the end, he was borderline psychotic.
There can't be that many of them.
There's like 12, 15, but he drove across the country and went to his car broke down here in Nashville. And by the end of it, he needed some mental help. It was the music was driving him insane. He ate it like every night, 2 meals a day for like a week and a half, and he was borderline insane by the end of it.
It feels like, what was the guy's name that did Super Size Me? Great documentary. He's dead now. Sherman.
Really? He died?
Yeah, I think that guy died. I think the guy that did Super Size Me has passed away now. But yeah, the whole bit was that he ate McDonald's for 30 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that if they asked, this was during the time that, would you like it supersized, sir? Would you like it supersized? And if they asked him that, the rule was he had to say yes. Yeah. And he had to eat it all. And he gained like 40 pounds and got sick or something. I don't know.
Goodness.
Matt, the water will stay out of the tunnel. You're not getting this right at all. It's just the water table out of the tunnel is the issue, I guess. See the channel between France and England. Well, that worked. The channel worked, right? I
believe so.
I thought that was a wild success.
You know what? I think down in Houston they've got tunnels underwater.
Do they?
I think so.
I've been in tunnels before, so I know that tunnels work. There's one, I forget where it is, that it is a freaky deaky thing because you go out on a. Y'all tell me where this is because it allows for ships. I can't remember. Is it Baltimore? Where you're going on a bridge over water and then the bridge just disappears because you go into a tunnel. Like they because it was cheaper to bridge it to a certain place and then tunnel it, and then you go down into the tunnel under the water. Ooh. And that allows for ships to go by. Unabated. I forget where that was.
See, for some reason, that's scary.
Oh, no. It will. Ken, I remember, and I can't remember where it was. This is 30 years ago. But I think it's Baltimore. That's at least the way my memory is remembering all this, but I could be completely wrong. It might be somewhere else. But let me tell you, especially if you don't necessarily know what's going on,
yeah, and
all you know is that the road is ending. You see a big kind of a blob of concrete. And you just see the road ending, and you're like, well, where are we going? And then in front of you, you see the cars go, floop, disappear, and it looks like they're sinking in the water. Kind of freaky.
Would not like that.
Chesapeake Bay, thank you very much. That's very good. And, yeah, Lincoln Tunnel in New York City works.
Oh, well, yeah.
It also leaks a little.
Oh.
By design.
Keep it from collapsing? Keep the pressure off?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's correct. No, I do not believe for a second that we're going to create new flood zones in the city based on these tunnels. But if I get proven wrong, so be it. More dad jokes on the way. Maybe some It's So Cold jokes on the way, too. And nincompoops in the news are on the way. And there are some that are suggesting that yours truly, Matt Murphy, that I'm the nincompoop in the news today because of my take on the B&A hole. And yes, we did say that the B&A hole might have leakage. The last thing you need is a B&A hole. Well, you just hit the thing. I don't want to do it.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and I'm looking at some green, some yellow, and some red, but then some turquoise and some pink on the color weather radar. That turquoise and pink, that indicates snow and some sleet mixed with rain. And most of that is along and north of 40, but there's a lot of pink of it starting to creep south of 40. Franklin, you're getting some of that. And looks like Lebanon getting some of that, too. We've got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, 2 people are dead after a dog attack in Tullahoma. Channel 4's Brendan Tierney went to the home where it happened.
Police here in Tullahoma are trying to figure out what caused this tragic mauling. It happened at a home along East Warren Street on Wednesday afternoon. Officers say James Smith was already dead when they got there, and the dogs were still attacking his infant granddaughter's body. Neighbors say the family had 7 pit bulls, and they had attacked other animals in the neighborhood before, but never people.
She's screaming, "My baby." The dog pound pulled up. My heart just shattered then, and I'm just now kind of coming to realization of what happened, and it's really happening. Like, I've lived by these people forever, and now they're not even going to be my neighbors no more.
The house was condemned last night because of its condition, so on top of mourning these deaths, the family has to find a new place to live.
Yeah, police say they had to kill one of those dogs because it charged them. Animal control took the other 6. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. So again, the vast majority of the snow and the sleet mixing with the rain is along and north of 40, but the sleet is creeping south of 40 in some places. Franklin's getting some of that. It looks like Lebanon has had some of that sleet as well. Crashes aren't helping matters. You got 440 westbound there at Murphy Road. In Lebanon, a crash, 840 westbound approaching Couchville Pike. Rural Hill, 24 eastbound at Bell Road, you got a crash. In Williamson County, Cool Springs, a crash on the left shoulder, 65 northbound at Moores Lane. Then in Dixon, you got one, Highway 48 just south of I-40. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hi, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk with you for a moment about your heater. Okay, so if it's not running properly, you probably have noticed already. Maybe you cranked that thing up and you've smelled the smell and the nasty, burn-off type aroma. Well, I wish you would have called Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling before that and let Jeff come out to your home and clean that thing so you don't have to smell that because it's bad for you and your family. But regardless, if you've noticed that your heater's not working as it should, now is the time to go ahead and get that thing fixed. Let Jeff Eddy and his team come out and fix what ails your system. He's never going to try to upsell you on anything in your home. As a matter of fact, he fixes what ails your system and offers second opinions to folks that have gotten the advice that they need to replace their system. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. If you do, they're an Elite Pro partner with Rheem, and they can assist you with that. But if you don't, he's going to fix what ails that for less money than the other guys. He doesn't charge you overtime on nights or weekends because he does not believe it. Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling, they get you more value for your dollar and fix what ails your heater. EfficientHVAC.net, EfficientHVAC.net, or call 615-784-4424, 784-4424. Hey, I need an all call for all engineers listening to the show. I need your help. All of you engineers out there. I know we are the preferred radio program for engineers because we're smart like that. So
real smart.
I mean, we're smart. And so I would need some help from, I guess, a structural engineer or, maybe a civil engineer, some sort of engineer that can help me understand where I'm going wrong, because I got several people telling me that this is going to cause ecological disaster in Nashville. And I just have a hard time believing that. But I have I've got to call out to my engineer friends. Y'all call me and let me know. 615-737-9986. For all of you engineers out there listening, you'll get right to the front of the line. Just right to the front of the line. No waiting.
Special treatment.
Special right to the front of the line if you have any additional information on the Music City Loop, a.k.a. the leaky B&A hole.
Oh, you just took it to a new level.
I mean, that's what I'm telling you. There's going to be seepage.
Ow!
But that's natural. That's to be expected.
Especially when you get up there in age.
Goodness.
Alan is next up on the Matt Murphy Show. Hello, Alan.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Alan. I hope you are.
Oh, better than I deserve, brother.
Yeah.
Got a couple of them for you.
All right.
So bear with me.
Talk to me.
The first one is about AOC. Did you hear where AOC did not change her newborn's diapers, but every 2 weeks?
No.
You know why?
No, I didn't.
Because on the box it said good up to 10 pounds.
Hey-o!
Yeah, really. The second one is, I grew up in Nashville. When someone cuts you off in traffic, do not be tempted to lower your standards and give them the one-finger gesture.
Uh-huh.
I wave at them. When you wave at them, you're sending them the whole flock.
the whole fleet.
That's what it is.
Yeah, the whole fleet of them. Yeah, plus the thumb. I like that. Thanks, Alan.
Y'all keep up the good work. Keep your powder dry.
I appreciate you, brother. I mean, look, there's some hard news going on. I mean, I need to delve into this Somalian deal, and I probably will in the 6 o'clock hour. And now I got Frank, the engineer, on the line. Can I get to Frank before Nincompoops? Is that going to be allowable for us? I'm gonna do it anyway. Frank, what's going on, Frank?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Frank, are you you're an engineer, sir?
Correct.
All right, very good. Frank, have you thought about or studied at all the Music City Loop, the tunnel experience between B&A and downtown Nashville?
Not so much the tunnel, but I've been involved in some of the dams around Middle Tennessee and know a little bit about, I guess, some of the risks when it comes to karst topography and the changing of water courses and stuff like that. Again, I can tell you that I think I know.
All right, talk to me. What do you think?
Well, I guess basically what you're doing is you're doing, okay, so you have the natural cracks and patterns that existed all along, the sands of time of these rocks. And so water has been allowed to go in some places for a continued period of time, and then it hasn't been allowed to go to other places. And so, where water is allowed to go, we get into karst topography features, so basically water that can dissolve, that's where you start having like sinkholes and stuff. So when you come in and you have all these cracks and then you drill through them, you start cracking some of those existing cracks, which ultimately could allow water that had previously not been allowed to go certain places, now it could be allowed to go. This is what they're talking about with water table.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you could potentially be creating an opportunity for new sinkholes to form that are unforeseen, and then that could cause, the Corvette Museum to collapse and other stuff like that. In terms of flooding, there's almost certainly going to have some sort of sump situation, sump system going on with the tunnel to help mitigate some of that. There's a pretty good chance that there's going to be some leaking going on in there, and they have, sump systems for that. I guess someone mentioning that all the flood water could go in there. There's probably an event where the water, where the tunnel could go underwater, and they close it down and they pump it dry and they get back into working operations when water levels allow. So I have a feeling there's probably been a lot of discussions on the design side when they were doing this to manage our expectations once the tunnel is operational or something like that.
Yeah.
Hope that all makes sense.
No. All of this is valuable information. So the core consideration is not necessarily leakage on the inside of the tunnel, but it is creating cracks. And as you're explaining it to me, is as you drill, you're creating cracks and fissures where there otherwise were none that could allow water to get into those cracks and fissures, creating sinkholes.
It could, yeah. So it allows water to go places it had not been previously allowed to go. Think of it like fracking. People fight against fracking. So you go down deep and you turn, and all of a sudden you create these new avenues for oil to go where it didn't. Now, of course, they're trying to pump it all out, but there's going to be some collateral agitation of stuff underground, and all of a sudden people have, flammable sinks because somehow oil has been able to get into their water supply. This is all, not speaking from an authority on that, but these are the stories I've heard when it comes to fracking. So it's not too dissimilar to that idea, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. So based on your basic understanding of the project, and I don't know if you have all of the information in front of you to answer this question, but do you think this project will be successful, or do you think that it will ultimately fail?
I can't say. I mean, kind of what you were saying, it's definitely Elon Musk. So I have a feeling, kind of like you suggested, it's not his first rodeo. I kind of doubt it will fail, quote unquote. It may be more expensive than anticipated, but yeah, I don't know. I can't say anything definitively. Who knows? Well, we're about to find out, I guess.
Yeah, we're going to find out. No doubt about that. Frank, thank you for the call. Appreciate you. It's 46 minutes after the hour. Take more calls on the tunnel, but
in the news.
As you hear, it's time for Nincompoops in the News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Jackson Williams is chomping. I say chomping at the bit to go ahead and get to it. Did you win yesterday, Jackson, or what?
I have no idea. I think who won, Ken?
I don't know.
Can I ask a quick question?
I can't remember what my story was.
I suppose I can. I can't remember what mine was either. We did it at 4:35 yesterday. Has anybody done the raccoon store?
No.
Okay, good. I'm going first then. A masked burglar broke into a closed Virginia liquor store early Saturday, and he hit the bottom shelf where the scotch and whiskey were stored. The bandit was something of a nocturnal menace. Bottles were smashed, a ceiling collapsed, alcohol pooling all over the floor. The suspect was acting like an absolute animal because the suspect was an animal. It was a raccoon. Saturday morning, an employee at an Ashland, Virginia area liquor store found the trash panda passed out on the bathroom floor at the end of what was described as a drunken escapade.
He's face down.
Have you seen the picture?
Yes.
It's so
cracks
good.
me up.
It wears me out. But what's funny, kid, is I've been there before. After a night of drinking and partying too hard, and you get to feel a little queasy, and you realize, boy, I gotta go to the bathroom. I might be throwing up here before you know it. And then you get to the toilet, and you're like, oh man, I'm here. So, and just in case, and then and there you go, right beside the old potty. Samantha Martin, an officer who works at the local animal control, says, I personally like raccoons. They're funny little critters. He fell through one of the ceiling tiles and went on a full-blown rampage. He was apparently drinking everything. Martin said she took the raccoon back to the animal shelter, though she had her fair share of giggles along the way. Another day in the life of an animal control officer, I guess. It is believed that the creature slept the drunken night off and was eventually released on its own recognizances. That raccoon, that drunken raccoon, is my nincompoop in the news.
They're going to name it Otis Taylor.
Yeah, but tell you what. And she. Ken, your nincompoop, sir?
Yes, sir. I had to go back in time for this one, boys. 2009. Mark of stupidity. Burglary suspects drew masks and beards on their faces using permanent marker pen.
Ooh.
There was little to disguise what these two had been up to moments before police pulled them over. Would-be burglars Matthew McNelly and Joey Miller's master plan had one tiny flaw. Their disguises comprised of masks drawn on their faces with permanent marker. Police stopped their car after a witness reported two men with painted faces were trying to break into a flat in Carroll, Iowa. The caller added the pair were wearing dark hooded tops and had driven off in a big white car. Police soon spotted a 1994 Buick Roadmaster. That's a big old car.
That's a big one.
Matching the description and stopped it at gunpoint. Inside, they found the two men, both of whom had what appeared to be masks, beards, or mustaches scrawled on their faces. 23-year-old McNelly and the 20-year-old Miller were both charged with attempted second-degree burglary and released on bail. It is unknown whether or not they got those disguises off by the time they went before the judge.
Fred, you didn't get permanent marker, did you? Oh, no. Point of realization. That's pretty bad. Jackson, you're an nincompoop, sir.
Man accused of bringing meth bottle into Jefferson City IHOP, causing evacuation on Thanksgiving Day.
What?
This is in Missouri, Columbia, Missouri. A man has been charged with 2 felonies after he allegedly brought a combustible bottle of methamphetamine into a Jefferson City IHOP on Thanksgiving Day. Jason Cross, 53, of Jefferson City, was charged with manufacturing a controlled substance and first-degree endangering the welfare of a child. He is being held at the Cole County Jail without bond. An arraignment was held on Monday, and Cross pleaded not guilty by video from the jail. Cross also applied for a public defender. The probable cause statement says police were called around 6:23 p.m. Thursday to the IHOP on Missouri Boulevard. A witness allegedly told police that Cross had been talking about a bomb, and police removed one person from the restaurant and then evacuated the building, the statement says. Cross allegedly referred to having a bottle that he called a shake and bake, or a way to make meth that is extremely combustible.
Wait, shake and bake's pork chops, man. Come on.
No, that's pancakes.
Oh, okay, sure.
Court documents say Cross allegedly told police he brought the bottle of meth to the restaurant to possibly make it safe, the statement says. Cross allegedly told police that he did not think he brought a bomb into the restaurant, but thought it could be. The statement says one of the people described as a victim was a teenager who worked at the restaurant. The statement says the teenager and another person described as a witness told police that Cross had called the bottle a bomb and had been shaking it in the building, the statement says.
Can't do that. Can't start talking about bombs in the IHOP.
Just ruining everybody's Thanksgiving.
I mean, listen, I've dropped a bomb or two in the IHOP.
Been there.
Been there, done that, but they didn't arrest me for it. I bet they wanted to.
I bet.
I bet they did.
The shake and bake.
The old shake and bake.
The old,
I'm going
did y'all
ever?
I got to bring my shake and bake.
Did y'all ever have shake and bake?
Oh yeah, my grandmother used to make shake and bake pancakes.
Used to love it. No, shake and bake was for pork chops.
No, it's pancakes.
You can put it on chicken.
It's Bisquick.
No.
Yes.
I don't.
Jackson's too young.
Jackson, you're too young for the original shake and bake. Original shake and bake was like spices that you take the chicken or the pork chops and you put it in a bag and you shake them up and then you fry them.
Right.
No, it's this. You buy this thing of pancake mix.
Yes, sir.
You put milk or water in it.
Yes, sir.
And then you shake it, and you got fully prepared pancake batter. It's delicious.
Right, right. That's the modern day shake and bake.
Yeah, we're old school.
We're talking about
Jackson.
how they used it before the American Revolution.
Hey, yeah. By the way, you know where the Jackson? You know where the one-legged waitress worked?
IHOP.
That's correct. Speaking of that, Jackson. Senator Mark Pody is going to join us in a moment. He's got information on the tunnel?
He does.
Oh, that's good. Well, tell Senator to hang in there. Love talking to Mark. And he has some additional info on the tunnel and the efficacy of said same. That's on the way next. It's 53 after the hour on Super Talk. Oh, by the way, you can vote. 615-737-9986.
Vote early,
on the
vote often.
Super Text line. Vote early, vote often, vote for me. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A gajillion people are on the super text line right now saying that, Jackson, it's shake and pour is what you're thinking of. Shake and pour, not shake and bake. And they're reminding us that you don't bake pancakes anyway. Which is that's fair.
That's kind of like my self-eyes.
Well, it's all good. Listen, I just realized something. That we're talking about the tunnel. If we have any issues with the tunnel, whether there's moisture or mildew, we can call USS. We've got the experts. USS stands for United Structural Systems. I don't know if they've ever worked with tunnels, but they've worked with a lot of homes. 30,000 satisfied residential customers at USS United Structural Systems, guaranteeing that your home will be safe and dry, stable and dry. They've been doing it since 1994. That's what it's all about, friends. USS, they guarantee their best. So if you've noticed moldy or mildewy smells, if you've noticed doors or windows sticking, if you've noticed the telltale signs like the cracking in the mortar joints of your brick, you need to get USS in your life. Go to USSTN.com, USSTN.com, or call 615-488-7855, 488-7855 for our friends at USS.
6 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We still got that wintry mix moving through Nashville right now. It is still mainly along and north of I-40. A little bit of sleet mixed in with it. Not helping our drive home. We'll have a full forecast and traffic update in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, a family in Tullahoma is dealing with a tragic dog attack. It claimed 2 lives, an infant and the infant's grandfather. Police say the grandfather was dead when they arrived, and the dogs, all of them pit bulls, were still mauling the infant when they got there. Neighbors tell Channel 4 the dogs had attacked other dogs in the neighborhood in the past, but they were nice to people.
She's screaming, "My baby." The dog pound pulled up. My heart just shattered then, and I'm just now kind of coming to realization of what happened, and it's really happening. Like, I've lived by these people forever, and now they're not even going to be my neighbors no more.
7 dogs were seized. 1 was shot and killed when it charged officers. The other 6 taken by animal control. The house is condemned due to deplorable condition, and the family has to find another place to live while they're mourning their loved ones. A deadly house fire in Wilson County today. Channel 4's Jordan James from East Division Street in Mount Juliet.
Just after 7 o'clock this morning, a fire was reported at the home. Crews spent nearly an hour putting out flames that left the outside scorched. Despite their efforts, a woman was declared dead. Authorities say she was the only person there. The Wilson County Sheriff's Office and TBI are investigating the cause of the fire. As officers comb over evidence, neighbors are shaken.
Oh, that's just horrible. I know I'll be praying for that family, and my family will be praying for that family, and if there's anything that we could do in Mount Juliet, I know the people here will be given to them.
We are still actively working to learn the woman's identity. At this point, it's unclear how long the investigation will take.
Nearly 5 years after the fact, an arrest has been made for the pipe bombs that were planted outside Republican and Democratic Party headquarters in D.C. the night before the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr. was arrested this morning at his home in Woodbridge, Virginia. Attorney General Pam Bondi slammed the Biden administration, claiming they had all of the evidence but never acted on it.
Let me be clear. There was no new tip. There was no new witness. Just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work.
ABC News correspondent Alex Mallon covers the Justice Department.
We learned from the 9-page charging document that was just unsealed that the large part of this was circumstantial evidence that led them to believe that this individual had, for instance, purchased all of the components that were found in both of those pipe bombs. They separately did an analysis of his phone records that put him along specific parts of the path that they were able to track the suspect's movements on that surveillance footage that they've been releasing periodically throughout the years that showed his movements going between the DNC and RNC.
Authorities have not yet disclosed a motive. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we still have rain falling all over Middle Tennessee. Now, the vast majority of it mixing with snow and sleet remains along and north of 40. That is keeping traffic slower than normal this time of day. Crashes are not helping. In Lebanon, we've got one 840 westbound approaching Couchville Pike. Got one over by Percy Priest and Bell Road just south of Stewart's Ferry Pike. And then in West Nashville here, 40 eastbound at I-440, exit 206, police reporting a crash. And in Cool Springs, a crash on the left shoulder, 65 northbound at Moores Lane. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, just after 6 o'clock, 6:07 to be precise. My name is Matt Murphy. Thank you for being with us. One of the things I absolutely love about this radio show and spending time with you on a daily basis is we never know what's coming right around the corner. You don't, I don't, Ken doesn't, Jackson doesn't. And sometimes we delve into conversations that we had no idea we'd be discussing when the show starts at 3 o'clock. And this is one of those times as we walked ourselves into a new discussion about the Music City Tunnel. The Boring Company presented a plan for the Music City Tunnel, and it became public that they were doing the work several months ago. They continue to do said work. There are some that are suggesting that this could lead to certain levels of ecological disaster with regard to water tables changing or fractures or fissures in the rock that currently exists, creating dynamics that are divergent from what they currently are. And Senator Mark Pody has joined us on the show to talk about the tunnel and some additional information that he's got. Senator Pody, always good to catch up with you. How are you, my friend?
Matt, I'm doing terrific, and it was so great to be just listening to you as I try to all the time because you're very informative. I love your show, man.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
And we're talking about something that is very near and dear to my heart. That's going to be infrastructure in Tennessee, and specifically Middle Tennessee. And I'm vice chairman of transportation in the Senate. So I am extremely involved with what's going on transportation issues. And, of course, I represent part of Davidson County as well. So I'll try and work with as many people as I can across party lines to say what's best for our transportation solutions here. Mm-hmm. And this Boring Company, when they came in, they've got an extremely dynamic plan that I think is going to be very beneficial for Tennessee.
So did you or have you had conversations with these individuals about the contingencies? And let me ask it this way, Senator, are you satisfied that they are doing everything that they need to do to make sure that there's not sort of any sort of ecological disaster or water table disaster? Are you comfortable with that?
Yep. So when we first heard about this, and it started at the airport, and I represent the airport, so what it was going and how it was going to happen, I investigated. I had them, the Boring Company, I had all of them come down and talk to me, and they spent multiple trips. I met with the governor's office. I met with the Department of Transportation. I met with TDEC. I met with everybody I possibly could to alleviate a lot of the concerns of environmental issues. What about to make sure that they had to go through all the permitting process to make sure that it's going to be safe. If there's a fire down there, if something happens, and we went through many different contingency plans. Also had somebody actually go out to Las Vegas to personally see what is going on with their programs. So I would have a wide range of information and questions to vet this before I'd say I'm okay with this. I think this is going to be very beneficial.
Did you see any specifics, or did you have any discussion on specifics regarding an environmental study?
Yes. So we have had some of those discussions, and we're not saying that they don't have to prove everything. They had to go through over 41 permits to make sure everything's happening. TDOT is making them go through the same permitting process that we had if we were doing anybody else. So they're not shortcutting anything. We are trying to make sure that the time frame is going faster, so it's not going to be held up. One of the unique things, if TDOT was doing something like this, we would be talking 10 to 15 years if we were fast tracking it. Here, they're going to be saying in less than 18 months, we can literally be driving on something like this. That we will be able to utilize this and taking cars off the roads.
Do you believe that it became? I mean, I understand the concerns that people have, and you know, we share them. We don't want to screw things up in our community. I think the last thing you want to do is to see this fail. But I think it comforts members of the community when people trusted voices like yourself, Mark, say that you've sat down with the folks, that they've walked you through some of the environmental plan. They've walked you with. I mean, but at the same time, I think they've admitted as much as they've not tried this before either. So they're learning. I mean, I don't want to put it this way, but it's the best way that I can. Are they learning as they go to a certain degree?
So they have not done something like this. The one that they've done in Vegas was, of course, in sand, and they actually are indicating that they like our rock a lot better than what they had to do with the sand. Our rock is very hard. It's a different type of rock, but they're very well prepared for it. And when I was going through and talking about, like, their engineers, they've got some of the absolute best in the world. This is not just locally. They've got the best engineers in the world working on this. They're going to be investing hundreds of millions of dollars of their own money. They're not going to be doing this just willy-nilly on a gamble. They have thoughtfully walked through what this is going to look like. They're also learning from what they did there. Of course, the tunnel from England over to France goes underneath the English Channel. This is not new to be done. We've got tunnels already underneath Nashville, and for the utilities and things like that. So this is not new that there's tunnels underneath Nashville as well. So they even went through to say why they're going 30 feet down, what it's going to look like. And when they're doing this, and I know that earlier callers, we were talking about what about water leakage? And when they're boring through, and it's going to be a 12-foot tunnel, but they're building the concrete walls tunnel as they're going through, so it's not boring and then coming back. Literally, the machine is doing it as it's drilling out the rock and crushing it, taking it out. They're putting up the concrete walls immediately, and there will be about 1.5 to 2 inch gap between the new wall going in and the existing rock in there. And they're literally putting that with an epoxy. So they're encapsulating the entire thing to make it waterproof completely around. So it's almost like if you were to put a straw, through a glass of water, the straw is not going to leak even though there's water all the way around it. And when they're filling things like this, it shouldn't be making it where they're bringing bigger fissures in and rocks and such and current. It's just sealing what they're doing in that tunnel. So then they're going to be the ones responsible. So they're having to put up everything that if there is something going wrong, they got to fix it. They got to pay for it. It's not going to cost the Tennessee taxpayers. We're making sure that the bond's out there, so if something did go wrong, it's going to be re-put the way it needs to be.
You sound, Senator, you sound pretty excited about this.
Matt, I'm going to tell you that right now this is brand new, but for the fact that we can have a new infrastructure system, taking mini cars off the road, making it safer for everybody that's either going to use the tunnel or not using the tunnel. If there's less cars on there, it's going to be safer for all of us. I am extremely excited. And the fact that it's not going to cost Tennessee taxpayers anything, this is almost like a wish come true that we can have it. And, I know they originally just talked about going from the airport to the convention center. I've had multiple conversations saying, what's it going to take for you to expand it? And they're not shy. They're saying this is a profit company. that if they can make sure that it's a profitable form, they want to definitely expand it. They're already talking about the West End expansion to Vanderbilt.
No, we were. That's one of the reasons that we brought it up tonight. That there were new developments with regard to that cross. That cross piece from West End, Vandy, and into downtown into Lower Broadway. Well, Senator, keep us up to date with any additional information that you receive, and you know how much we appreciate you listening. You know how much we appreciate you representing the people of your district, and we appreciate you calling in today.
Matt, keep up what you're doing, informing the constituents and everybody in the Middle Tennessee of what's going on. Take care.
Thank you, Senator. There's Senator Mark Pody, who joined us on the conversation with his perspective on exactly what's going down. In the meantime, if you're just getting off work and just joining us, you may not have heard that Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel announced today the arrest of a suspect in the Jan 6 pipe bomb case after it languished for years under the Biden administration. They credited a fresh look at the case with breaking the case through. Today's arrest, they said, happened because the Trump administration made it a priority. The cold case languished for years under previous administrations, or the previous administration, but under Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino, when it got to the FBI, they took a fresh look and they discovered their believed alleged assailant. No new evidence was uncovered, but a fresh review of the case spearheaded by Bongino breathed new life into the case. The suspect was named as Brian Cole Jr., will be charged with the use of explosive devices. Patel said he put in danger innocent civilians and government officials, and that these were devices that could have exploded. In other words, these were not inert. They were capable of explosion. They simply did not explode. The officials noted that the investigation is still ongoing, and they've not announced a motive as of yet. In May, Bongino announced the FBI would be taking a fresh look at the unsolved mystery of the case, which included the pipe bomb. It had remained unsolved, even though that there were hours of footage and forensic analysis. And so several of you asked the question when we brought this up earlier, what about the alleged female that was involved that was uncovered about a month ago or so? That was a false lead. There were several erroneous reports that came out on the internet at several different websites that sadly led people to believe that there was some sort of Capitol Police involvement. There was not any Capitol Police involvement. It looks like this was an individual from Virginia, 30 years old now. I suppose that would make him 25 or 26 years old at the time that he committed this act, if it is demonstrated that he was actually the individual responsible for the placement of the bomb. 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. 9986, 19 minutes after the hour. Quick time out. Back after this, your telephone calls and more on the Pete Hegseth shifting narrative with regard to the shooting of Venezuelan drug runners. That's on the way next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hi, friends. Matt Murphy for the Tennessee Men's Clinic with 3 separate locations, Midtown, Cool Springs, and Clarksville. You know, if you have issues in the bedroom, if you have problems with performance, I understand that this is a very personal matter, but it can impact your relationship, your mental health, and even your sense of identity. But there's good news. There's real help at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Since 2014, the Tennessee Men's Clinic has helped thousands of men get back to feeling like themselves. First in Midtown, before it was even called Midtown, now in Cool Springs and in Clarksville. No matter where you are in Middle Tennessee, expert care is close by. Do not trust your health with an online website. Trust the qualified urologist at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, which is urology-based and staffed with professionals, and they believe and understand that they should treat you as an individual. They do not do a cookie-cutter, one-size-fits-all treatment plan. Friends, it works. The treatments work, and it's only $99 for your first appointment. And that appointment includes a full medical consultation, blood work. They'll get some info back to see where your testosterone levels are and the like. And if medically advised, they offer a test dose right there in the office. 615-208-9090, 208-9090 for our friends at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Call today. Let's get back in the game, men, with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Hi, friends. Matt Murphy. You know, there's a lot of things that America's split basically 50-50 on. Some would say politics, working from home or the office, coffee or tea. 50-50 on coffee or tea? I don't think that's the case. But one way or the other, there's one thing that we all agree on. Taking your car in for repairs can be complicated. It can suck sometimes, too. But it doesn't have to. Your repair is only as good as the person under the hood. Most of the problems in fixing your vehicle is a knowledge issue, not somebody trying to rip you off. It's a knowledge issue. A lot of techs are not properly trained. They end up guessing what to do, and it causes delays in getting your vehicle back. At Eurofix, they do things differently. Every visit starts with a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection. You know what's going on before they start the work. At Eurofix, they pay their techs more than anybody else, but that doesn't mean that translates into more money from you because they fix European vehicles at below dealer pricing and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty and offer a rental car with every available appointment. Locally owned, family-run, 5 separate locations. It's Eurofix, myeurofix.com. That's myeurofix.com or 844-EUROFIX. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Yeah. Patrick writes in and says, hey, Matt, I finally got to try out Savory Spice, and oh, my goodness, the Nantucket turkey rub is amazing, and the garlic and the onion everyday seasoning is awesome. Good for you, Patrick. I tell you, y'all need to check it out if you've not checked it out. Savory Spice, located in Franklin, and big news to come regarding Savory Spice south of the city. That's news that is on the way probably mid-December, maybe end of December. I can't tell you about it now, but it's probably middle of the year, maybe the end of the year that we'll take a relook at some of that. In the meantime, I got this, and this is the world that we live in nowadays, right? So I was talking to a group of people last night. You know, I left early for a discussion with the Beacon Center folks, the Young Professionals Society. And, hey, Jackson, this was my opening line. This is my opening joke. You ready? It's like, I would like to thank the Young Professionals Society for inviting me to speak to you tonight, for I am not young, nor am I very professional, and I appreciate the opportunity to be surrounded by said same. I don't need your pity, Jackson. I don't need your pity. I'm going to start calling you Shake and Bake. How about that?
I'm fine with it. Better than truffle butter.
You brought it up.
Only going up from there, brother.
I didn't bring it up. You brought it up. Truffle butter's pretty good. I mean, it's only like a laundry list of 14 different names that you've got so far.
I know. I got most of them on a hat.
What?
The turkey hat.
Oh, yeah, you did. Thank you to Mr.
Bill in
from
Hendersonville.
From Hendersonville. Gave you the old turkey hat. So I got this. Ham writes in and says, I think it's cute they found the January 6th pipe bomb person. Honestly, I don't give a damn about that as much as all the talk of treason from the left and nobody's in jail. I'm beginning to believe that this administration is acquiescing to the left a little bit. And I obviously asked the question, why do you think that? We don't jail people for speech. Do we? That's new to me. So I understand the frustration with the language that some are using, and there ought to be certain consequences to that language, but I don't believe that necessarily, jailing an individual based on their language, you better give me a real reason to believe that it's a jailable offense before we start doing that, because we don't do that in the United States of America. I'm in the free speech business. I don't just willy-nilly suggest that people should be jailed for things that they say. Your language has to have real and actionable consequence in order for me to go there. We got into this last night as well at the Young Professional Society. We live in an age of information. We have information at our fingertips in mass quantities. If you have a smartphone, I want you to look at your whatever you might be doing. If you're in your automobile, don't look away from the road, but you probably have it near you in a console somewhere nearby. If you're in your home or your place of business, you probably have your phone within arm's reach, right? Because we're all attached to them for the most part. Not everybody, and congratulations if you're not, but for the most part, I admit that I'm addicted. We have more information at our fingertips. And I believe it was Elon Musk that said this, and it's pretty fascinating that we were talking about Elon and the Boring Company a second ago, and he said that you have access to more information than every president of the United States of America up until Barack Obama. Right here on your phone. At every second. That you could be, if you have Elon used this example, that if you have a Starlink device and you're in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, in the middle of nowhere, and you have a Starlink and you have your phone, you have access to more information than every president of the United States of America up until Barack Obama. Yet we seem more ill-informed or misinformed than ever before. Why? Why is that? Because a glut of information does not necessarily come with understanding. There's way too much information and not so much knowledge or understanding about it. And unfortunately, people are abusing the system and glutting the zone with misinformation and disinformation. Now, does that mean that we should stop the flow because there's misinformation and disinformation? No, we don't do that. Of course we don't. I'm in the free speech business. Because some abuse the opportunity, because some abuse the platform, does not mean that we should shut the platforms down. And there are plenty of us that feel as if our union has been abused in a way that makes us wonder whether or not we're going to survive. I ought to be able to wonder that aloud without being accused of sedition or treason. Now, if things rise to an actionable level, obviously you deal with that. But no, you don't. I don't know of any talk of treason that you've heard on the left. I don't know specifically what you mean. But I would agree with you that the political left seems to want to give up the rest of the country for the sake of generosity around the world, or allowing illegal aliens to come into this country, or fundamentally transforming America and this grand experiment that it has been into something that we don't recognize anymore. I mean, Barack Obama said it so many years ago, that he wants to transform this country. Into what? Transform it into what? What are you talking about? Well, we know what they're talking about. We'll talk about Minnesota and the Somalians coming up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas from all of the gang at Genesis Diamonds. And they want to remind you that Genesis Diamonds, man, they're your holiday store, right? They shine this time of year. The cases are jam-packed with all of the best gifts, the highest quality items at the guaranteed best prices around. I'm talking engagement rings, diamond bracelets, eternity bands, earrings, pendants, colored stone jewelry, pre-owned Rolex watches and the like. And listen, this December at Genesis, you can get the holiday jewelry she wants for zero money down and no interest for 5 years. You heard me correctly. Genesis Diamonds is the place for that spectacular holiday gift. And you can divide it by 60, and that's your price monthly because on approved credit, you've got zero interest for 5 years. Pick any items and spread your payments over 5 years. That's what it's all about. So, I mean, that home, let's imagine, right? $6,000. Okay, let's just take that for example. That's $100 a month. $3,000 pair of earrings. That's $50 a month. You do the math. Everything's affordable. And speaking of affordable, they have the half-price holiday vault at Genesis Diamonds, a select group of showcases featuring expertly curated Christmas items that Genesis is offering at half price, 50% savings. You just need to check it out. Genesis Diamonds, the place for the spectacular holiday that you've been looking for. Green Hills and Cool Springs, Willamette Murphy sent you to Genesis Diamonds. All right, this is very important, and I know I promised that I would get to Somalia, but several of you are asking the question on the super text line, and I want to make sure that I'm clear on this. I'm in the free speech business. America has been founded on and has long lived under the concept that we protect those that speak, so long as they are not endangering others or inciting individuals to violence. I want to talk about the Brandenburg test for a minute. Because several of you and I was not referring to the Democrats regarding their encouragement that individuals in the United States military violate their oath. That's a different deal, okay? What I was referring to is this comment that lawmakers are encouraging, treasonous behavior or whatever. And maybe that's what the super texter was referencing. I don't know. I don't know that those lawmakers that said that, I think they've rightly been called out about it. And I believe that the answer to bad speech is more speech, largely. But when we talk about speech becoming sedition, you better keep the bar pretty high. And I know when people are saying things that you don't like, it's a lot easier to suggest that they need to be made to be quiet or jailed as a result of their comments or speech. But that bar better be real damn high. If we all said things that all the rest of us agreed on, we would not have any need for the First Amendment to begin with, right? The First Amendment values and is there for unpopular comment, unpopular speech. Even if, what if I went to the length to tell you folks that I believed, and I might be believing this more than ever before, that this experiment's not working for all of us anymore, that our divide is too great in the United States of America. And I see the chasm so great that I believe that we are dividing ourselves into two separate nations, and that there will come a time when that divide reaches enough people that we recognize the need to split. Is what I just said punishable? Should it be punishable? Well, it feels to me nowadays more than ever in my life, in my working life, doing this job, that there are people, depending on what side of the aisle you're on, that would say yes. And I say no. Of course not. Now, that leads me to what seditious speech actually is. Seditious speech, which is punishable, is speech that incites violence, rebellion, or insurrection against the government of the United States of America. And in the U.S., it is defined by several laws, which criminalizes conspiring to overthrow, put down, or oppose the U.S. government by force. And I'm reading this because I think it's very important. The First Amendment's freedom of speech protection limits sedition laws. And under Brandenburg versus Ohio, the Supreme Court created the Brandenburg test. And they said that speech is only punishable if it is specifically intended to and likely to produce imminent lawless action. So the speech must be intended to incite violence. The speech must be, in order for it to be legally punishable, it also must be determined that it is likely to produce imminent lawless action. And understand, sedition is a different deal. Seditious speech is different from criticism or dissent against the government. And the First Amendment protects vigorously the right of people to disagree and speak out against the government of the United States of America. Laws against seditious speech started with the Sedition Act of 1798 and the Sedition Act of 1918. But their enforcement is severely limited by the ability to determine what is known as the Brandenburg test. More on that in a second. Now, what we typically think of when we think of seditious behavior is seditious conspiracy, which requires an agreement by multiple people that they're going to act in concert with one another to encourage or to follow up on the overthrow of the government or the hindrance of the law. We need to be careful that we don't turn into that which we see around the rest of the world and we despise. Look at what England has become, y'all. So, while a lot, and I'm not knocking anybody and their particular opinions on it, but I watched this gross video that was presented by the Democrats, and I know exactly what they were trying. What they were trying to do is encourage people to try to figure out on their own. They were trying to encourage individuals that have no business trying to discern what's legal and what's not legal from trying to do it on their own. And you could say that fulfilled the first part of the Brandenburg test, which is intended to incite lawless action, but I don't believe it fulfilled the second part, and that is that it was in imminent danger of actually doing so. The Brandenburg test, it's from Brandenburg versus Ohio. And it became, at the time that it was decided by the United States Supreme Court, the controlling standard for speech in the United States of America. And the three elements of the test are as follows: the intent to speak, the imminence of lawlessness, and the likelihood of lawlessness within the speech. So I hope that makes sense to you. that Brandenburg presented a very, very, and I was trying to find the year of it. I think it was in the 1960s, 68, 67, 68, somewhere along those lines. But it was a landmark and rightly decided opinion in my learned opinion that held that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is, quote, directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action or likely to incite or produce such action. In other words, we believe in your ability to express yourself despite the fact that some might disagree with you, despite the fact that most might disagree with you. Maybe everyone else in America disagrees with you. That's what the First Amendment is all about. What you cannot do is incite those to riot or to commit other lawless acts based on the speech that you offer. If you do so, then you are punishable by the law. All right, I understand why people have a knee-jerk reaction to some of these nonsensical Democrat comments that are being made across the country with regard to our National Guard or our United States military or our Trump administration, generally speaking. And they put out this video like, I don't have to, and we know exactly what they're talking about. They're talking about the Venezuelan drug cartels and the boat strikes. And you don't have to do this, and you don't have to do that, and you don't have to do anything that's against the law. Well, who determines what is and isn't against the law? There's a way to do that. There is a way to offer complaint up the chain of command if you believe that what you are being asked to do is a criminal or lawless act. What you can't do is simply ignore your orders. If you do that, then you absolutely lose the chain of command within the military. And if you lose that law and order, then you lose your military. 47 minutes after the hour. I promised Somalis. I'll give you Somalis right after this on Super Talk. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Man, oh, man, the Big Daddy Trump special finishes 2025, I should say, off with a bang, right? And if you've not taken advantage of it as of yet, it's time. $12, $12, a 10 and a couple of ones. We'll get you a comprehensive examination, x-rays if needed, a diagnosis, and your first treatment at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Why are they doing this? They're not making money on it, I tell you that. They want to introduce you to the incredible nature of spinal decompression and the modern techniques utilized at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and I want to introduce you to them as well. Go to painisbad.com, painisbad.com to find out more. If you've got back pain, neck pain, sciatica, hip pain, anywhere that it hurts, maybe a slipped or bulging disc or a herniated disc, your pain can be alleviated through the advanced techniques of spinal decompression at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. And you don't have to worry about surgery. You don't have to worry about painkillers. You don't have to worry about spinal blocks. You get pain-free naturally. That's what it's all about at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. So call today and ask about the Big Daddy Trump special, 615-246-5009, 246-5009, or painisbad.com. The Wellness Institute of Nashville has my seal of approval.
Selling your home can be stressful. But it doesn't have to be. Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. Work with the #1 real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspain.com today.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
Hey, don't forget, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, we're building a field of toys. That's happening next week, the 9th day of December. And we're excited to be out there next to Nissan Stadium. It's my understanding that if you stop by with a new unwrapped toy for a youngster or a gift for a senior, that you'll get to meet not only Matt Murphy, yours truly, but you'll also get to meet young Y2J. That's Jay Willie, Action Jackson, Reaction Jackson, a.k.a. Truffle. But what do we call you today? I'll replace Truffle Butter.
Shake and Bake.
A.k.a. Shake and Bake. You're coming. You're going to be there.
Yeah, I'm going to be there not only with you. I will be there for Dan Mandis' show in the morning. And then I will be there for the last half of Chad's show through your show.
You know, I have it on good authority that Mandis was demanding your presence.
Really?
He's jealous. He's a little jelly. That's right. That's what I believe. By the way, Mandis out at the governor's mansion tonight. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We didn't get to go. You know why?
Because we got to work.
Radio show. That's right. We've got to work. Matt, for lawmakers to encourage soldiers to break ranks and at worst to mutiny against the chain of command, at least it would break down good order and to discipline. Is that not seditious? If you don't think it is, give me examples of what would be. Telling them to directly violate the chain of command. It is not impermissible for a member of the United States military to refuse an unlawful order. What they were trying to do is suggest, and they never said so, and they're being really cute with the way that they're doing this, and they're a little too cute for my taste, but they're doing so attempting to get a reaction, right? So their cuteness involves them telling members of the military, hey, this is just a reminder. If somebody tells you to do something illegal, you don't have to do it. So they're not telling you that anyone's suggesting they're doing illegal actions, although that's the inference that they want people to make. So they're being cute with their language. What I'm suggesting is we better be really sure that someone is engaged in seditious behavior before we start throwing this around. Look at what's going on in England right now. I mean, what's good for the goose would be good for the gander. And if the Democrats get power again, God forbid, whatever they do with it, if we start speaking out against it, are they going to use our language against us? In England, if you post something online that is considered inflammatory or quote-unquote hate speech, they arrest you for it. It's disgusting what they're doing in England. Disgusting. Because they have no value of freedom of speech. They have no value that you have an ability to speak out against your government forcefully. Now, I understand where the line is. I think I do. And I think they do too. And that's why they walked right up to it and they sniffed over it. They never stepped over it. And I understand why the president reacted in the way that he did. I understand why he's frustrated, because he understands the insinuation too. But they were smart enough to never say it. Because Larry, if they say it, then you're right on. If they say, we don't care what the higher-ups tell you, you are to refuse this order. Well, that's not what they did. They were being a little cute. They were being very cute, as a matter of fact. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it, because what they want, what the political left wants more than anything is to erode your ability to speak your mind. They would love nothing more than hate speech legislation in the United States of America. And while I could characterize you a way where that might be beneficial for us, in many, many other ways, it would just destroy the foundational fabric of the U.S. and our ability to speak out against government. They knew exactly what they were doing, but I don't believe, whether their intent was to do that or not, the Brandenburg test teaches us that we have to demonstrate that there is a likelihood for success, and there was never a likelihood for success because most members of the United States military understand the chain of command, and they understand that what they're being asked to do is perfectly legal. And if they question that, there is a path by which they can question it without getting themselves court-martialed. And I'm sure they do that on a regular basis. Yeah, 3376 said they were being cheeky. They were being cheeky. And they know exactly what they were doing. And other Larry says, hey, that's not me. Yes, Larry, there's more than one Larry. Believe it or not, we have multiple Larrys that listen to the show, multiple Larrys that chime in from time to time, and that is other Larry, not you, Larry. But we thank both of the Larrys for being a part of the show. Is there a third Larry? I'm certain that there is a third Larry, yes.
But you're Matt Murphy.
And there's only one of me.
And
actually,
he's Ken
there's
Weaver.
Matt Murphy, Matt Guitar Murphy. There's that stupid DA out in L.A. or wherever it is. I got told last night by somebody that they thought that I was their ex-boyfriend or going to be their ex-boyfriend at that event.
Huh?
And they dated a Matt Murphy. Wasn't me. Wasn't me. Lady by the name of Paige said she was worried when she walked into the room that I was going to be that Matt Murphy, and I wasn't that Matt Murphy. She was relieved. I said, well, I don't get that reaction.
First time for everything.
Yeah, I don't get that reaction very often. That's going to wrap it up for young Jackson Williams, for not-so-young Ken Weaver, and not-so-young Matt Murphy. That's our Thursday edition. We're back with a Freestyle Friday edition tomorrow on the show to include Fry J. We also have Congressman John Rose, who's running for governor of the state of Tennessee. He'll be on with us at about 5:05 tomorrow afternoon. Thank you for being a part of the day today. I enjoyed it. Hope you did as well. For the entire gang, have a great evening. Hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.